Chapter 812, Target, Howling Moon Mountain. Chapter 812, Target, Howling Moon Mountain. The black-robed young man had a vengeful gaze as he looked at Suzumo. He then turned to leave and vanished into the depths of the forest. A deep feud was sowed for the destruction of his physical body. Suzumo knew that things would definitely not end peacefully after he saw the black-robed young man's gaze. Right now, the simplest method for Suzumo was to chase and destroy the black-robed young man's essence spirit in order to get rid of future troubles. However, the black-robed young man was a step earlier and the two of them were too far apart. Furthermore, this was the Black Sand Ridge and Suzumo was extremely foreign to this place. He did not manage to chase far before he lost track of the black-robed young man. After exiting from the body, the essence spirit was no longer bound by the shackles of the physical body and could move thousands of kilometers instantly at an extremely fast speed. Even if Suzumo knew where the black-robed young man was, it would be difficult for him to catch up unless he released blood escape. Furthermore, the black-robed young man was the young master of Black Sand Ridge and had a noble status. Many fiend demons must have been alerted to the massive battle that broke out here. If he continued his pursuit, he might find himself embroiled in difficult battles. After a moment of silence, Suzumo gave up on his pursuit and retreated. He was not going to commit the same mistake against another mid-level fiend demon the next time with this experience. By the time Suzumo returned, the battle had already ended. Even as a mid-level fiend demon, the black-robed young man nearly died, and he ended up in the tragic state where his physical body was destroyed. When the other demon beasts saw that, they did not linger at all and fled everywhere. Only corpses were left lying around the forest. During that short period of time, more than 100 demon beasts had died. Monkey, the spirit tiger, and Ching were all excited. Ever since they entered the Thousand Demon Valley, they had been hunted down by the demon beasts of Howling Moon Mountain. Finally, they were able to vent their frustrations that had built up. Even Little Fox could not conceal the joy in her eyes as she gripped her beloved pitch-black umbrella tightly. Great! That was great! The spirit tiger grinned and thumped his chest while declaring loudly, "Bloody hell! We'll see who has the guts to hunt us down from this day forth. Anyone that comes is going to be sent right back by us." The five of them exchanged glances and smiled. All of them knew that they would no longer have to flee for their lives from that moment on. Little Fox put away the pitch-black umbrella in her storage bag and turned to ask, "Young master, where are we headed to next?" Demon beasts could utilize Dharmic powers after cultivating essence spirits. They could also make use of a storage bag created with Dharmic powers that was extremely convenient. Of course, some fiend demons would choose to hide their weapons in their bodies, mouths, or minds. The spirit tiger raised his fist and declared loudly, "We should naturally look for a territory and become territorial lords ourselves. How great is it to become territorial lords where we can rule over thousands of demons and look all awesome?" "That's right." Monkey nodded in agreement. Every other moment, he had thoughts of being a king. Ching smiled at the spirit tiger and asked, "Also, when you become a territorial lord, there will be a lot of demonesses that will accompany you, right?" "That's right." The spirit tiger fantasized with an intoxicated expression and almost drooled. The moment he spoke, he sensed a killing intent and jerked out of his stupor. "I mean, no way." He said in a self-righteous manner, "I am a decent gentleman that pays no attention to secular desires posed by demonesses." The spirit tiger smacked his lips and closed into Ching with a pandering smile. "All I need is you to accompany me, Ching." "Get lost." Ching extended her long leg and sent the spirit tiger flying right away. Little Fox furrowed her brows slightly and said in a soft voice, "However, we've only just broken through and are only low-level fiend demons. We have to be at least mid-level fiend demons in order to be territorial lords." "That means nothing." The spirit tiger scurried back from a distance and said, "That black scorpion was a mid-level fiend demon as well, but he got his ass handed to him by first. He even had to leave his body behind and escape with his essence spirit." Ching nodded as well. first should definitely be able to become a territorial lord in terms of strength. Even if he can't match the stronger territorial lords, he is on par with the weaker ones. However, where are we going to find a spare territory? Little Fox shook her head. This is the Thousand Demon Valley, and all territories, large or small, must have been occupied by demons a long time ago. It's simple. A blood glint flashed through Monkey's eyes as he smacked his lips. We'll find a territory, and the 5 of us will attack together to suppress the territorial lord. Once that is done, which of the remaining demons will dare to go against us? Monkey loved to fight and was always restless. Even if nobody provoked him, he would ponder about where he could head to for a fight. Isn't it bad if we snatch the territory of others? Little Fox blinked and asked weakly. Foxy, you haven't lived in the world of demons before. The spirit tiger waved it off. Over here, it's survival of the fittest, and there's no morals involved. The stronger party will always live on and have a good life. Little Fox seemed to be in deep thoughts. They had not provoked anyone intentionally ever since they entered the Thousand Demon Valley. However, they were bullied twice in succession by others, all because they were too weak. Monkey added, "There's no use enduring and living an ignoble existence if you want to survive among demons. Everything here has to be fought for with your fists." Little Fox nodded. "All right, I'll listen to you guys." Suzimo's mind was decided, although he made no comments the entire time. Be it him, Monkey, or the spirit tiger, they were not going to bow down to others. They definitely had to occupy a territory of their own. Ching Ching mulled. "We're not familiar with this place since we're new to the Thousand Demon Valley. Which territory should we occupy?" It was an important question to consider. If they made the wrong choice and met with a wall, the 5 of them might pay with their lives even before they oust the current territorial lord. Everyone turned to Suzimo. Slowly, he said, "Let's go to Howling Moon Mountain." The eyes of Monkey and the spirit tiger lit up. "That's right." The spirit tiger slapped his head. "I almost forgot about that place. Those bunch of asses from Howling Moon Mountain chased us through mountains, ridges, hills, and rivers for dozens of days. We've got to make them pay for that." Suzimo took out the map the rat passed them. The area occupied by Howling Moon Mountain is the smallest in the vicinity. According to logic, it should mean that the territorial lord is the weakest. This is it. Monkey agreed as well. The spirit tiger was excited and made a fuss. "Let's go right now." Suzimo said deeply, "Don't rush it. We'll infiltrate Howling Moon Mountain and continue to cultivate there for a period of time to stabilize our cultivation realms. It would be best if we can find out more about the situation of Howling Moon Mountain before making further plans." Suzimo knew that it was not going to be simple to take down a territory. There were only 5 of them. They would face immense difficulties if they tried to do it forcefully. Furthermore, Monkey and the others had already refined their destiny Dharmic weapons. However, he had not had time to refine his creation Green Lotus. Once his cultivation realm was stable, his essence spirit, body, and bloodline received a complete boost through Dharmic powers, and he refined the creation Green Lotus. His strength would definitely grow to the next level. That way, they would stand a much higher chance of taking down Howling Moon Mountain. "Go, let's leave this place first." Suzimo pondered for a moment before waving. This was the territory of Black Sand Ridge, and the young master had just received serious injuries and even nearly died. It won't be long before experts came knocking. Chapter 813, Night Travels. Chapter 813, Night Travels. There was almost no peace in Howling Moon Mountain for the past month. The death of several hundred spirit demons and 2 of the 7 protectors was a major event. It was said that the demons that died were killed by demons that came from the ancient battlefield. Furthermore, there were only 5 of them, and they were all spirit demons. During this period of time, every single demon in Howling Moon Mountain searched for the 5 of them and almost turned the entire place over, but to no avail. The demons realized that the 5 of them should have already escaped. Even if they were hiding in Howling Moon Mountain previously, they must have escaped from fear after they were hunted down on such a massive scale. Nobody noticed that this day, 5 fiend demons in human form had swaggered their way into the territory of Howling Moon Mountain. These 5 fiend demons were none other than Suzimos who were being targeted right now. Heh, puny demons of Howling Moon Mountain, who bat Ian is back. The spirit tiger grinned. Ching Ching said, I'm sure the demons of Howling Moon Mountain will never expect us to dare to return. Suzimo smiled. It doesn't matter even if they've expected us to. They can't recognize us. A few spirit demons appeared in the vicinity. However, none of them acted unusually when they saw Suzimo's group. Instead, they avoided the group with respectful expressions. As the 5 of them passed through the forest, the sound of crickets echoed. However, all of them looked composed. Previously, they had nowhere to run because of those seemingly unassuming crickets. Now, none of those crickets posed any threat to them. After Suzimo's group cultivated to become fiend demons, they could take on human forms without any signs of their demon roots. Although they could already take on human forms at the Golden Core realm, they would exude demonic chi and exhibit certain demon traits. For example, Monkey could not hide his long fur. The spirit tiger had the head of a tiger and the body of a human. Little Fox's tail would pop out from time to time. Now, even if other fiend demons were here, they would not be able to recognize the 5 of them, let alone these ordinary crickets. Only experts that surpassed them in cultivation realm would be able to see through them. Suzimo had red hair and the muscles on his face squirmed to readjust themselves. He looked like a completely different person. Let's go and find a place to settle down and cultivate for a period of time to stabilize our cultivation realms. Suzimo brought Monkey and the others into the depths of the forest and disappeared before long. A month later, a round moon shone brightly late at night. The clear moonlight spilled onto the lake's surface that resembled a mirror. The lake water was so clear that its bottom could be seen. It looked like there was a divine dragon that was swimming in the waters. A gentle breeze blew past and the moonlight rippled. The divine dragon vanished and a figure was reflected. On a stone slab beside the lake, a scarlet-haired man bathed in the moonlight and devoured heaven and earth. Every breath he took caused his body to echo with the sound of tsunamis. Rich demonic chi spewed out from his mouth and seemed to take on the shape of a divine dragon in midair. It circled once before it was sucked in by his nose again. The cycle repeated itself continuously. The aura around the man became increasingly frightening, and he emanated a boundless might. All the demons in the vicinity had avoided the place a long time ago. The sound of the crickets had vanished entirely. The scarlet-haired man was none other than Suzimo. They had returned to Howling Moon Mountain and cultivated for a month. During this period of time, Suzimo's cultivation realm had stabilized. The augmentation to his essence spirit, bloodline, and body using Dharmic power was complete as well. Right now, Suzimo was much stronger than he was a month ago. Even if he met with the young master of Black Sandridge's Black Sand Eclipse once again, he could dispel it without using Illumination Eye. Suzimo had benefited immensely for the past month. The scarlet-haired Aene's spirit cultivated the mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the Great Wilderness. The black-haired essence spirit cultivated the purple thunder manual and Great Day Rulai Sutra and was in a great condition. However, nothing happened to the creation green lotus. Suzimo was not discouraged. Legend has it that the creation green lotus was an item of the immortal world that was incomparably strong. It would be unusual if it was repaired that easily. He took out a stalk of soul-nourishing blood ginseng and consumed it to continue with his cultivation. The black-haired essence spirit sat on the antiquated creation green lotus on the spirit platform, and a faint halo appeared behind his head that shone with a divine, flawless glow. From time to time, a purple streak of lightning would clash past with a sizzling sound. The scarlet-haired Aene's spirit hovered in midair within the spirit consciousness. As time passed by, the skin of the scarlet-haired Aene's spirit became coarse and eventually, fiery red scales appeared one after another. They resembled metal plates that were burned bright red. The scales resembled those that grew on Suzimo's body during his dragonification. However, The scales were created from his spirit consciousness and were embedded on his essence spirit. Right then, something crossed Suzumo's mind. There was the saying of reverting the spirit to the void. When cultivated to the void reversion realm, the essence spirit could exit one's body and roam the world freely, traveling 1,000 kilometers in an instant. Under normal circumstances, neither the Ein spirit or the essence spirit of the nascent soul could achieve that. But now, a bold thought crossed Suzumo's mind as he sensed the scales on the body of the scarlet-haired Ein spirit. With a thought, Suzumo directed the black-haired essence spirit out of the spirit consciousness and the body. The moment it left his body, the black-haired essence spirit shivered. Although the temperature outside was normal, it was way too cold for the black-haired essence spirit to endure. Sure. The black-haired essence spirit returned to the spirit consciousness hurriedly and continued to cultivate. This time round, Suzumo directed the scarlet-haired Ein spirit carefully out of the spirit consciousness. It was all right. When the scarlet-haired Ein spirit with scales left the body, it did not feel uncomfortable. Suzumo was delighted, but he did not dare to be careless. Be it the Ein spirit or the essence spirit of the nascent soul, the true threat they faced were the natural elements of the weather. The elements were unavoidable if the essence spirits wanted to roam the world. Before that thought was completed, a cold gust of wind blew past. Suzumo grit his teeth. However, the scarlet-haired Ein spirit did not return and stayed outside his body. The scarlet-haired Ein spirit remained motionless against the cold wind. It was not damaged at all with the protection of the scales. Suzumo was elated. If he was not wrong, those scales were dragon scales of the spirit consciousness that he had cultivated from the Ein spirit section. Gradually, Suzumo became even bolder. The scarlet-haired Ein spirit shuttled through midair at an extremely fast speed and left streaks of red light. It was roaming the world freely and could cross 1,000 kilometers in an instant. This was originally something that could only be achieved by a void reversion's essence spirit. However, Suzumo was able to do it by cultivating the Ein spirit section of the mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the great wilderness. The scarlet-haired Ein spirit stood in midair and stared at its own body on the stone slab. It was looking at itself. It was a mysterious sensation. It was even more direct than the introspection of a spirit consciousness. Furthermore, the scarlet-haired Ein spirit could roam the world and its detection radius was even wider than the spirit consciousness. Excited, Suzumo decided to travel around Howling Moon Mountain at night using the scarlet-haired Ein spirit. When an essence spirit leaves the body, the spirit consciousness would be left empty. This would mean that the body would become an empty shell without soul or consciousness. Even if the physical body met with danger, it would not know how to defend or dodge. Therefore, before leaving with one's essence spirit, cultivators would ensure that their bodies were hidden in secluded locations so that their foes could not find them. However, this was something Suzumo wasn't worried about. Even with the departure of his scarlet-haired Ein spirit, there was another essence spirit in his spirit consciousness. Chapter 8:14 Essence Spirit Secret Skill. Chapter 8:14 Essence Spirit Secret Skill. The scarlet-haired Ein spirit hovered in midair without any weight. Suzumo leaped down from the stone slab and walked towards a cave not far away. The black-haired essence spirit controlled his body and hid in the cave temporarily. That could potentially save him from some trouble. The black-haired essence spirit continued to cultivate while the scarlet-haired Ein spirit vanished in a flash, headed towards the depths of Howling Moon Mountain. Without the shackles of the physical body, the essence spirit was closer connected to heaven and earth. It faced significantly less resistance traveling through the air and was extremely fast, moving 1,000 kilometers instantly. In reality, if Suzumo wanted to explore the territory of Howling Moon Mountain himself, he would require at least 3 days and nights. However, with the speed of the scarlet-haired Ein spirit, he could check out Howling Moon Mountain entirely with a single night. Shadows of trees passed by him in a fleeting manner. With the protection of the dragon scales, the scarlet-haired Een spirit shuttled through the forest freely and roamed the world with an indescribable freedom. Suzimo followed the map in his hands and gradually closed in to the center of Howling Moon Mountain. That was the resting ground of the Howling Moon Mountain Territorial Lord. Under normal circumstances, be it the Een spirit or a nascent soul realm essence spirit, neither were strong enough to carry physical objects. The Een spirit could not even lift something as light as a goose feather, let alone this map. However, with the dragon scales, the scarlet-haired Een spirit could lift light objects such as the map of Howling Moon Mountain. Suzimo was shocked. The mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the great wilderness was truly strong. Although the black-haired essence spirit cultivated the Purple Thunder Manual and Great Day Rulai Sutra, two top-tier cultivation techniques of the immortal and Buddhist Das, it could not roam the world, let alone lift physical objects. However, the Een spirit section from the mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the great wilderness alone could achieve it. The Een spirit section came from the Ocean Dragon King. In other words, even the dragon race of Tianhuang mainland might not be able to surpass Suzimo's in terms of their spirit refinement legacy. 2 hours later, Suzimo was close to the core of Howling Moon Mountain. In order to avoid detection, the speed of the scarlet-haired Een spirit gradually slowed down. There were evidently more fiend demons around the vicinity. However, none of the fiend demons noticed Suzimo's presence. Firstly, most of them were cultivating and were hardly distracted. Secondly, the scarlet-haired Een spirit was merely the size of a thumb and was extremely fast. Even if somebody caught a momentary glimpse of it, they would have thought that they were seeing things and thought nothing of it. Thirdly, although Suzimo had just advanced to the nascent soul realm, his scarlet-haired Een spirit was already much stronger than the essence spirits of other fiend demons since it could roam the world. With that, it was even more difficult for those fiend demons to notice Suzimo. That was also why it was so powerful for the essence spirit to be able to leave one's body. Low-level fiend demons would hardly realize that they were being spied on at the side. Suzimo continued advancing and his speed slowed down. He could clearly feel that there were 2 fiend demons cultivating at the front not far away. The Dharmic power fluctuation around them was extremely strong and surpassed the other fiend demons. There were 2 mid-level fiend demons. Suzimo paused in his tracks and hid himself without advancing. If he was not wrong, the 2 mid-level fiend demons should be the Howling Moon Territorial Lord, Black Wolf, and his deputy, Chanrui. The 2 of them were mid-level fiend demons and could use their essence spirits to roam. Suzimo hid himself carefully far away, not wanting to alarm the 2 of them. All of a sudden, Black Wolf stood up with an imposing aura. He hollered with a fervent gaze, "Who is there? How dare you spy on Howling Moon Mountain? Not good. I've been discovered." Suzimo was alarmed. There's no wonder why he's the Howling Moon Territorial Lord. Indeed, he's capable. To think that he can even sense me despite how far I'm hiding here. Suzimo was prepared to flee the moment the thought crossed his mind. Since he was exposed, it was useless for him to linger any longer. Instead, he would be in danger, and it would be difficult for him to get away. Right then, a gentle breeze blew and 3 faint, glowing essence spirits flew into the air from the forest not far away. Initially, Suzimo wanted to leave. However, he paused in his tracks when he saw that. To think that there were other essence spirits spying in the darkness. The 3 essence spirits were in the shape of bats. The fact that they could roam to this spot meant that they were void reversion essence spirits. One of the essence spirits said in an odd manner, "Howling Moon Mountain, you've got some capabilities indeed. To think that you were able to spot us. Humph, we'll pay you a visit another day." Before that sentence was completed, the 3 essence spirits sped into the distance and tried to escape in time. "Where can you run to?" Black Wolf roared and his glabella shone, releasing a terrifying spirit consciousness that formed a murderous wolf in midair. The wolf arrived instantly before an essence spirit, devouring the latter in a single chomp. "Black Wolf, you ah." The essence spirit could not dodge in time and shrieked before he could complete his sentence. Suzimo was secretly alarmed, and his heart skipped a beat. Black Wolf's attack was a killing move targeted at essence spirits. It was even stronger and frightening than a spirit consciousness attack. Spirit consciousness attacks were the most ordinary offensive means at the Void Reversion realm. Some mid-level fiend demons or void reversions get the chance to cultivate secret skills for their essence spirits that could condense their spirit consciousnesses and in turn create attacks that were extremely lethal with concentrated strength. Secret skills for essence spirits were extremely rare, and the major sects kept everything to themselves. In the Yang Spirit section of the Mystic Classic of the 12 Demon Kings of the Great Wilderness, there was a secret skill from the Desolate Ocean Dragon King for the essence spirit. Unfortunately, the text of the Yang Spirit section was incomprehensible. It seemed like an ancient language from the dragon race, and it was the same for the secret skill. Of course, Suzimo had not cultivated to that level, and was not qualified to cultivate the essence spirit secret skill. Previously, it was clear that the young master of Black Sandridge did not know any essence spirit secret skills. If he had released an essence spirit secret skill, Suzimo might not have been able to defend against it even with the fusion of his essence spirits. Although the Bat Essence Spirit was extremely fast, the secret skill of Black Wolf's Essence Spirit traveled at an even faster speed and devoured the Bat Essence Spirit. The Essence Spirit of a mid-level fiend demon left its body and roamed here. To think that it would die in Black Wolf's hands without the chance to even return to its body. Chanrui struck. A tremendous spirit consciousness gathered and two curved blades appeared in midair all of a sudden, shimmering coldly and thin as cicada wings. It was another essence spirit secret skill. The two curved blades descended onto another essence spirit that was escaping and weaved across one another. The Bat Essence Spirit was sliced by the sabers and perished on the spot. In the blink of an eye, the essence spirits of two void reversions perished. Naturally, an essence spirit had to face immense danger upon leaving its body. It was even more dangerous when they were spying on a territorial lord. The two territorial lords of Howling Moon Mountain attacked and killed off two essence spirits cleanly. However, the third Bat Essence Spirit seized the opportunity to flee far away. Black Wolf, Chanrui, don't get cocky now. The sound of the Bat Essence Spirit echoed from far away. Howling Moon Mountain is about to be doomed. Let's see how much longer you can continue to be smug. The voice grew increasingly distant and eventually went silent. Suzimo hid where he was motionlessly. If the two territorial lords of Howling Moon Mountain noticed him and released their essence spirit secret skills, his scarlet-haired Een spirit would definitely be severely injured even with the protection of the dragon scales. Chapter 815, Danger in Howling Moon Mountain. Chapter 815, Danger in Howling Moon Mountain. Although the essence spirit could roam the world upon leaving the body and travel at 1,000 kilometers in an instant, if it was severely injured, it would result in the death of the body. There was no return. In the blink of an eye, two mid-level fiend demons had perished here. The three mid-level fiend demons must not have expected the two territorial lords of Howling Moon Mountain to discover their presence. Less than that, they did not expect the two territorial lords to be this ruthless and cultivated essence spirit secret skills. A single attack from both of them killed off two essence spirits. Suzimo was secretly alarmed when he witnessed everything. Thankfully, he came to check things out and understood the situation. Otherwise, he might have taken a huge loss if he took on the two territorial lords. Although they were all mid-level fiend demons, the strength of the two territorial lords of Howling Moon Mountain were far superior to the young master of Black Sand Ridge. The massive battle ended instantly. As though they no longer had any mood to cultivate, Black Wolf and Chanrui exchanged glances in silence. There was a hint of worry on their faces. Suzimo was puzzled. Although it was a clear victory, why did it seem like they had lost? When he recalled the statement left by the mid-level fiend demon, he realized that things might not be as simple as they seemed. Black Wolf said with a grim expression, Cyclone Cave can't hold it back any longer. To think that they sent 3 mid-level fiend demons to spy on us. Thankfully, I noticed their presence, or the 2 of us might be killed if they took the first move. Actually, the territorial lord of Cyclone Cave is still cautious of us. Otherwise, he would not have sent people to come and spy on us first, Chanrui deduced. Black Wolf shook his head. We can still fight if it's only Cyclone Cave. However, that's not the only threat to Howling Moon Mountain. There's also Black Sand Ridge and Ghastly River, Chanrui continued. That's right. Black Wolf sighed. Those 3 territories have their sights on us. I'm afraid Howling Moon Mountain won't be able to get through this ordeal. What I'm most afraid of is if they form an alliance. Chanrui remained silent with a heavy heart. At that point, Suzimo had already obtained quite a bit of useful information. When he saw the territorial lords in an uneasy mood, he knew that it was a rare opportunity and left carefully and silently, exiting the region soon after. Not long after Suzimo left, Black Wolf suddenly frowned and said in a deep voice, earlier on, apart from the 3 of them from Cyclone Cave, there seemed to be someone else was spying on us. Ah! Chanrui froze for a moment. Black Wolf continued, it was an intermittent feeling and I'm not entirely sure either. Was it from Black Sand Ridge? Chanrui asked. Not likely. Black Wolf shook his head. In this period of time, the fiend demons of Black Sand Ridge are searching for a group of mysterious strangers. There's no reason for them to head here. I heard about that incident as well. The young master of Black Sand Ridge's physical body was ruined, and he almost died. Chanrui chuckled. However, if they're not from Black Sand Ridge, who were they? Could it be? Suddenly, Chanrui froze and looked at Black Wolf instinctively. Their gazes met in midair, and Chanrui's heart skipped a beat. That person from Ghastly River? It should be. Black Wolf nodded. He's most likely the only one that can sneak beside us stealthily and leave without a trace. That's going to be troublesome. Chanrui sighed. Suzimo was already gone and naturally did not know that the 2 territorial lords of Howling Moon Mountain thought of him as somebody else. At that moment, Suzimo was in the skies soaring through the clouds as he looked down on the territory of Howling Moon Mountain to survey its terrain and listen in to the surroundings. All of a sudden, he froze and slanted his head in midair to listen carefully for a brief moment. Thereafter, his lips curled with a fake smile and a strange look flashed through his eyes. If he extended his spirit consciousness through the ground beneath him, he could clearly detect that it was not fully solid. It was interconnected with multiple tunnels to form caves one after another. Demonic chi was rich, and everything eventually converged towards a massive palace. The palace was made of gold and shone brightly with an earthly aura. There were countless rats scurrying around the palace in a joyful manner. Some of the rats huffed as they carried wine. Some of the rats were off killing chicken and cows. For ordinary wild beasts such as chicken and cow, they were naturally helpless against rat demons with sentience. It was even more lively in the palace. Some of the rats turned into women that shuttled through the feast to set up fruits and delicacies. At the front of the palace, a rotund man sat high and above with a sparkling, golden crown on his head. Although he did not exude any demonic chi, he had shifty eyes and looked extremely sleazy. 2 cute women were on both sides of the rat, and they were thumping his back and kneading his thighs. He was thoroughly enjoying life. Congratulations, Your Majesty. A rat demon at the bottom raised a glass for a toast. The rat demon was in human form and could stand with both legs. Although he wore human attire as well, there was a long tail behind him. It was a golden core realm spirit demon. This rat demon said loudly, Your Majesty, you are the first to cultivate to become a fiend demon among the rat race of Howling Moon Mountain. Our race will definitely flourish in the future. That's right. Your Majesty has an exceptional talent and managed to cultivate into a fiend demon in less than a month upon returning from the ancient battlefield. Amazing. Some other rat demons chimed in at the sides. Ha 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 ha. The rat at the front of the palace beamed widely such that his eyes could barely be seen. He raised his glass heartily and declared, "Everyone, drink up. Drink to your heart's fill." Pfft, Rat King, you sure are amazing. Suddenly, he heard a mocking voice echo within his ears. Its tone was neither heavy nor light, and the fatty with ratty eyes was the only one that heard the voice in the noisy palace. "MMM? Who's there?" The fatty with ratty eyes was shocked. Somebody managed to close into him without him realizing it. The fatty with ratty eyes was expressionless, and his glabella shone as he released his spirit consciousness to survey the direction of the voice. His spirit consciousness surged over, and he discovered a figure the size of a thumb in a corner behind him. It had shoulder-length scarlet hair, was lined with scales throughout its body, and its appearance could not be seen clearly. "Pest!" The Rat King gasped and was shocked. Instantly, he broke out in cold sweat, and his wrist trembled so badly that he spilled more than half of the wine in his cup. Although he did not know who this intruder was, he knew that only a mid-level fiend demon could send an essence spirit out of their body. "Follow me, don't make a fuss." The scarlet-haired essence spirit's voice was cold and emotionless. In a flash, it vanished into the darkness. The fatty with ratty eyes grumbled internally. In Howling Moon Mountain, only the two territorial lords could roam with their essence spirits. However, he knew that the essence spirits of the two territorial lords did not look like this. In other words, this mid-level fiend demon was not someone from Howling Moon Mountain. He would most likely die if he followed this man. However, if he did not, this essence spirit was enough to kill him as well. If he implicated his entire race here because of this, they would die for nothing. At that thought, the fatty with ratty eyes squeezed out a faint, bitter smile. He pushed away the two women beside him and said with a tragic courage, "Everyone, please continue. I am too drunk to carry on, so I'll make a move first." Chapter 8:16, Three Great Territories. Chapter 8:16, Three Great Territories. The Rat King slumped his head in despair the moment he left the tunnels. The scarlet-haired essence spirit before him flickered faintly, but did not go too far. The Rat King did not dare to escape either and could merely follow along, sighing constantly in misery. "Sigh, to think that I would meet with something like this the moment I cultivate to become a fiend demon. The heavens sure are jealous of the talented. Is this mid-level fiend demon from Cyclone Cave or Black Sand Ridge? What a bummer. I'm not even a protector of Howling Moon Mountain. Why did it come to look for me?" The Rat King was uneasy and fearful the entire journey. After an hour, the scarlet-haired essence spirit at the front stopped. "Go on inside." The scarlet-haired essence spirit pointed to a cave not far away and said indifferently. The Rat King felt that the voice sounded familiar. However, he was completely overwhelmed by fear at that moment and could not think properly. The cave before him seemed like the gigantic mouth of a desolate, gargantuan beast, and he was sending himself into death's gates. "Heis." The Rat King sighed again and grit his teeth, entering the cave reluctantly. The cave was not big and could be seen in its entirety with a mere glance. Although the light within was dim, the Rat King that was now a fiend demon was almost unaffected. There were 5 people in the cave. They dressed like human cultivators. However, with his sharp senses, the Rat King could vaguely guess that the 5 of them were fiend demons in human forms. Among the 5 of them, some laid down on the ground with one leg crossed against the other lazily, some sat properly while some stood in silence. For some unknown reason, all of them looked at him with odd gazes. The Rat King felt his scalp prickle from their gazes and did not know what to do. Right at the front, a scarlet-haired cultivator sat in a lotus position with his eyes closed. Suddenly, the muscles on the face of the cultivator twitched and his appearance changed significantly. Why you?" The Rat King's eyes widened as he looked at everything in disbelief. The face of the scarlet-haired man was exactly the same as the green-robed man who created a ruckus in Howling Moon Mountain more than a month ago. The 5 of them were naturally Su Zimo's group. "Why you guys?" The Rat King recognized Suzumo's group and instantly hopped as he exclaimed, "Are you guys insane? To think you would dare to return. Why wouldn't we?" Monkey sneered, "If the 5 of us are together, we have no fear even if we are barging into a dragon's pool or tiger's lair. Howling Moon Mountain is nothing." That's not the case. The Rat King waved it off and explained, sweating profusely, "Don't assume that you can come back and seek revenge now that you've broken through and become fiend demons. You have to understand that even among fiend demons, there are different levels. Only mid-level fiend demons can become territorial lords. Their essence spirits can roam into the world and travel 1,000 kilometers in an instant." Suddenly, the Rat King's voice froze. He witnessed something. The scarlet-haired essence spirit that entered with him transformed into a scarlet streak of light in a flash and flew into Suzumo's glabella. Suzumo stood up with a humoring smile. The Rat King's mouth was agape and his eyeballs popped out. How is this possible? Aren't you?" The Rat King wanted to ask how Suzumo's essence spirit could roam when he was a low-level fiend demon. However, his mind was in a mess at the moment and he could not speak coherently. "Don't be nervous." Suzumo walked over and patted the Rat King on the shoulder with a gentle smile. "I don't have any ill intentions inviting you here. The conflict that happened in Howling Moon Mountain earlier on was not your fault either. Furthermore, it was all thanks to your map that we were able to leave Howling Moon Mountain later on." The Rat King heaved a long sigh of relief upon hearing that and plopped down onto the ground. Unknowingly, he was already drenched in sweat. There were many things he did not know about this person before him. However, he knew that this was somebody who placed a clear distinction between gratitude and hatred. That statement already guaranteed that the Rat King's life would not be harmed. "Brothers, why have you looked for me?" When the Rat King composed himself a while later, he took the initiative to ask. Suzumo said, "I want to find out about some things from you." Suddenly, the Rat King revealed a cautious expression as his eyes roved around Suzumo's group. After a lengthy consideration, he said, "Pardon me for being straightforward, brothers, but the reason why I saved you guys earlier on was out of guilt. However, if you wish to make use of me to harm Howling Moon Mountain, I cannot agree to it." Suzumo replied indifferently, "Howling Moon Mountain is facing threats from everywhere and is about to fall. There's no need for us to make a move." "What do you mean by that?" The Rat King blinked. "Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, Ghastly River." Slowly, Suzumo gave the 3 names. The 3 names belonged to the 3 territories around Howling Moon Mountain. The Rat King remained silent, but his expression shifted slightly. Suzumo said, "You are updated with the news, and I'm sure you must already know of the motives those 3 territories have towards Howling Moon Mountain. If they form an alliance, Howling Moon Mountain will cease to exist." Suzumo obtained most of the information eavesdropping earlier on, and was able to come to this conclusion with some slight deduction. The Rat King sighed gently and gave a bitter smile. Even without an alliance, if one of those territories attacked, Howling Moon Mountain won't be able to withstand it. "Tell me, what do you know about the 3 territories?" Suzumo asked. The Rat King replied, "Actually, just by looking at the map, you can tell that the 3 territories are stronger than Howling Moon Mountain." He was not wrong. On the map, the area occupied by Howling Moon Mountain was the smallest and was in between the 3 territories. The Rat King continued, "There are only 2 mid-level fiend demons in Howling Moon Mountain, the 2 territorial lords. However, from what I know, there are at least 5 mid-level fiend demons in Cyclone Cave and Black Sand Ridge. Ghastly River is the most mysterious and nobody knows how many mid-level fiend demons there are. However, it is widely acknowledged that they are the strongest. That's because the territorial lord of Ghastly River is a Wyrm." At that point, the Rat King turned towards Suzumo's group instinctively. Unlike what he expected, none of them seemed shocked or taken aback. Suzumo and the other 4 were way too calm, as though they had just heard something extremely ordinary. Are the 5 of them having a delayed reaction? The Rat King thought to himself and cleared his throat before elaborating with emphasis. The Wyrm is a pure-blooded ferocious beast that carries a remnant bloodline from the dragon race within its body. Although slim, it has a chance of cultivating into a true dragon. Oh, the group of 5 replied expressionlessly. To begin with, Suzimo was now half a dragon and would naturally not bother about an existence like the Wyrm. Monkey and the others had fought against the Rakshasa race of the primordial 9 races. As such, their perspective on things was not something ordinary demon beasts could compare to. The Rat King widened his eyes and puffed his cheeks, feeling an inexplicable sense of frustration. Little Fox was the first to react as she clapped her hands and exclaimed, "Wow! A pure-blooded ferocious beast. Amazing! That's way too fake." The Rat King's mouth cramped up and he could not help but roll his eyes. Chapter 8:17 Greetings. Chapter 8:17 Greetings. Actually, when the previous Territorial Lord of Howling Moon Territorial Lord was around, he could suppress Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River with his strength. The Rat King continued, however, during an expedition outside, he met with a strong foe and was severely injured. His physical body was destroyed and he managed to return with his essence spirit, but he did not live for long thereafter. The current Howling Moon Territorial Lord is the remaining bloodline of the previous Territorial Lord. Throughout these years, the reason why Howling Moon Mountain was not overtaken was because Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River were wary of one another and had their own plans respectively. Suzimo nodded. The 3 territories were also worried that they might lose out if they were embroiled in battle with Howling Moon Mountain. That was why they had not attacked. However, if they 3 territories came to a common understanding, Howling Moon Mountain would be on the brink of destruction. "Brothers, why have you guys returned?" The Rat King's eyes darted around as he probed. The Spirit Tiger raised his chin and declared proudly, "We've naturally returned to take over the place and replace the current territorial lords." Bullshit. The Rat King pouted his lips slightly and sneered in his mind. In his opinion, the Spirit Tiger was definitely spouting nonsense. They must be dreaming if they thought that a few low-level fiend demons could take over an entire territory. "You don't believe us?" Monkey walked over and lifted the Rat King up by the shoulders, smirking. "I do." The Rat King shuddered and replied hurriedly with a smile. Monkey smirked even deeper. "Since you do, help us then. We're lacking in manpower, and you do seem like someone who knows what's good for you." The Rat King lamented internally, but could only force himself to reply, "Well, I'm indebted to the previous Territorial Lord, and the current Territorial Lord is nice to me as well." Suddenly, a thought crossed the Rat King's mind. "Brothers, you are actually not at fault for everything that happened previously. I can clarify the matter in front of the Territorial Lord. Now that you guys are already fiend demons, given your capabilities, there's definitely a chance for you guys to become protectors of Howling Moon Mountain." "All right." Suddenly, Suzimo spoke. "We'll trouble you then." "Ah, all right." The Rat King patted himself on the chest and declared loudly, "Don't worry, everyone. I'll try my best to help you guys plead for mercy. Our Territorial Lord is a wise man and will definitely not be calculative over what happened previously." Suzimo nodded. "All right, you can head back." The Rat King froze slightly. They were letting him off just like that. He had not expected everything to proceed so smoothly. The Rat King froze for a brief moment but snapped out of it swiftly. He said with cupped fists, "Brothers, please wait here for my favorable reply. I'll return as soon as I can." He turned and left the cave, vanishing into the darkness before long. "First, we're letting him off just like that?" The Spirit Tiger scratched his head and said in a deep voice, "This rat seems shifty and dishonest. What if he brings a group of people and encircles us instead?" Suzimo replied pensively, "Let's see what their decision will be." 10 days later. Within the cave, Suzimo, who was originally in quiet meditation, opened his eyes and a divine flash of light flickered briefly. Before long, Monkey, the Spirit Tiger, and Monkey stirred awake from their cultivations as well. "The rat is back?" Monkey's ears twitched. He seems to be the only one. Suzimo nodded and rose with a look of relief in his eyes. Although he did not know what the territorial lords thought, he knew that the rat did not backstab them at the very least. Before long, the Rat King burrowed into the cave and rubbed his palms with a huge grin. Hee, thankfully, things worked out well. Brothers, follow me to meet the territorial lord. All right. Suzimo agreed to it. Amazing, the Rat King praised. Brothers, don't think too much about it. After all, the position of a protector is dignified, and the territorial lord wishes to meet you guys in person before he can make the decision. That's for sure. Suzimo nodded. Thereafter, Suzimo's group of 5 left the cave with the Rat King and headed to the center of Howling Moon Mountain. With the lead of the Rat King, their journey was mostly without obstacles despite some slight dangers. Before long, they arrived at a cave in the center of Howling Moon Mountain. The spirit tiger and little fox were extremely curious and looked all around them the entire journey. Suzimo's expression was calm. His essence spirit roamed to this place 10 days ago, so everything was not new to him. Brothers, follow me. The Rat King led the way into the cave, and Suzimo's group of 5 followed close behind to enter. The moment they entered the cave, their vision lit up. The cave abode was extremely spacious, and gigantic pearls the size of fists were adorned on the walls on all 4 corners. They shone brightly and looked majestic. The spirit tiger's eyes lit up, and he wished that he could take off all the night luminance beads and keep them for himself. Insolent. Suddenly, a voice hollered. Everyone turned towards the voice. Not far away at the front, a black-faced burly man sat in a crude position in the manor. He was expressionless as he gazed at them. Suzimo had seen this person before and naturally knew that this was Howling Moon Mountain's territorial lord, Black Wolf. A lady with a white shawl sat at the bottom left of Black Wolf quietly without raising her head at all. This was Howling Moon Territorial Lord's Deputy Territorial Lord, Chanrui. However, neither of them were the ones that hollered earlier on. A muscular man stood behind Black Wolf. His eyes resembled bronze bells, and he was burly and muscular at more than 10 feet tall. Bronze-colored muscles that resembled rocks bulged up one after another on his exposed arms. The burly man shouted again with a rumbling aura, "Why aren't you guys heading over to greet the 2 territorial lords?" The Rat King said softly in a flustered manner, "That's the leader of Howling Moon Mountain's protectors, Bronze Bull, and he's the strongest in combat. Brothers, it's best not to offend him." Monkey had a proud expression and pouted his lips. Suzimo's group of 5 did not move. Bronze Bull's gaze froze up and he was angered. Right as he was about to flare up, Black Wolf that sat at the front waved it off. Bronze Bull panted heavily and endured it for the time being. However, he glared at Suzimo's group of 5 with an unfriendly expression. The moment Suzimo's group of 5 entered the cave abode, Black Wolf had been sizing them up with a frightening gaze. He was a mid-level fiend demon and a territorial lord. The aura and might of his presence was so powerful that ordinary demon beasts wouldn't be able to withstand it. Most of them would kneel on the ground and take the initiative to greet him. However, he could not see any bit of fear from the faces of the 5 people before him. Even though they were up against 2 territorial lords. Even though they were facing 2 mid-level fiend demons. It was especially the case for the scarlet-haired man leading them. This man had a composed expression and calm gaze without any bit of uneasiness, and even dared to meet Black Wolf's gaze. Interesting. Black Wolf laughed internally. Even Chanrui raised her head and took a special glance at Suzimo. "You dare to come knocking on my doors even after killing 2 of my protectors? Aren't you afraid I'll kill all of you?" A moment later, Black Wolf spoke slowly with a bright gaze. Instantly, the atmosphere turned murderous. Before Suzimo could react, the Rat King was the first to be startled and said hurriedly, "Territorial Lord, didn't we agree earlier to let bygones be bygones?" "Why you?" Black Wolf had a cold gaze and said coolly, "I'm reneging on my words. You have an issue with that?" The Rat King was speechless and sweat rolled down his forehead profusely. Chapter 818. What rights do you have? Chapter 818. What rights do you have? Instantly, the tension in the cave abode became repressive. A murderous aura spread. Bronze Bull twisted his neck and smirked sinisterly at Suzumo's group. A single order from Black Wolf was all he needed to lunge forward. Chanrui did not raise her head and said nothing the entire time. However, unknowingly, two curved sabers as thin as cicada wings had appeared in her hands. They were almost transparent and exuded a frosty aura. Black Wolf was silent and glared at Suzumo fixedly. To his surprise, even after he revealed his clear killing intent, this man was still expressionless the entire time. His eyes resembled a deep ocean that was totally unmoved. "Aren't you afraid?" Black Wolf raised his brow. Suzumo merely smiled nonchalantly. "If you wish to kill us, why would you need to lure us here?" "All right." Suddenly, the killing intent on Black Wolf's face dissipated, and he nodded with a faint smile. "Everything aside, the fact that you dare to come to my cave abode, that boldness alone triumphs every other protector of Howling Moon Mountain." The Rat King was stunned. Bronze Bull was equally stumped. Suzumo was the only one with a calm expression, as though he had expected this. "I heard about everything that happened previously. Although my fiend demons were in the wrong previously, you still killed many demons and 2 protectors under my lead." Black Wolf said with a deep voice, "You can be a protector of Howling Moon Mountain, but bear in mind that you carry a sin, so you will have to give your best in the future." "That's for sure." Before Suzumo could reply, the Rat King chimed in with a wide beam. "Territorial Lord, isn't this a little too hasty?" Bronze Bull was indignant and glanced askance at Suzumo's group as he could not help but say, "This man has clearly just broken through and looks so young. How experienced can he be? The status of a protector is extraordinary. No matter what, you've got to test out his skills first." "Shall I play with you?" The moment there was the possibility of a fight, Monkey's eyes lit with a scarlet glint as he hopped out right away. He had only fought the fiend demons of Black Sandridge ever since he became a fiend demon. Unsatisfied, there was naturally no way he would let this rare opportunity slip. "Just a wild monkey like you?" Bronze Bull laughed wildly. "All of you can come at me together." Suddenly, Suzumo spoke, "Actually, I'm not here to become a protector." "Huh?" Black Wolf raised his brow slightly and asked, "What do you want to be?" Suzumo's gaze shone brightly as he said in a slow manner, "What I want to be is Howling Moon Mountain's territorial lord." The moment he said that, the cave abode went completely silent. The Rat King's eyes widened with a stricken expression. Goodness, has he gone mad? A low-level fiend demon actually wants to challenge a territorial lord? It's over, it's over. I'm going to die because of you." Chanrui raised her head and looked at Suzumo seriously for the first time, as though she wanted to see through him. Black Wolf narrowed his eyes, and they shone violently. Although he remained motionless, a dangerous aura exuded from him that was way more frightening than the one earlier on. This time round, his killing intent was truly triggered. Brazen. Bronze Bull's eyes widened as he leaped and charged towards Suzumo with a holler. "How dare you act like a punk before me? Die!" Suzumo was motionless against the incoming Bronze Bull. A shadow darted out from beside him. Monkey had already leaped forward. He raised his fist, and his flesh expanded. As though it formed a gigantic seal in midair, he punched towards Bronze Bull's fist violently. Boom! There was a deafening sound. Bronze Bull gave a deep grunt and was actually sent flying. Monkey staggered a few steps back and shrugged his arm as he reared his head in laughter. What a great feeling! Once more. The Rat King's eyes widened, and he nearly bit his tongue. Bronze Bull was the leader of Howling Moon Mountain's protectors and had the greatest strength. No fiend demon could match him head-on. To think that this monkey that had just cultivated to a fiend demon was able to take Bronze Bull head-on without being disadvantaged. Furthermore, the Rat King knew Monkey was not the strongest in combat within the group. It was the scarlet-haired man. Could that man really be able to? A thought crossed the Rat King's mind that startled him. Immediately after, he denied it himself and lamented internally, "Impossible! Absolutely impossible. No matter how strong he is in combat, there's no way he can threaten the territorial lord." Black Wolf did not move and merely watched Suzimo. In reality, his spirit consciousness was already spread and was surveying the activity in the radius of 5 kilometers. In his opinion, it was impossible for the 5 low-level fiend demons before him to attempt to overthrow his position as a territorial lord. It was a complete joke. However, there was nothing unusual in the vicinity. There wasn't even any slight activity. With a darkened face, Black Wolf asked deeply, "Speak, who sent you?" In his opinion, Suzimo's composure was definitely because he had backing that most likely came from Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, or Ghastly River. "Black Wolf, you're thinking too much." Suzimo smiled with a deep gaze and said idly, as though he had read Black Wolf's thoughts, "I'm not from Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, or even Ghastly River. It's just the 5 of us brothers here." Black Wolf grinned as well, revealing a row of sharp, pearly white fangs. "Interesting. The 5 of you think that you're enough to overthrow me?" Suzimo replied, "Actually, there's no need for you to be hostile towards me." Ha 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 ha. As though he had heard the greatest joke in the world, Black Wolf released a thunderous laugh. "You came knocking at my door to provoke me, and yet you expect me not to be hostile?" Suzimo nodded and said matter-of-factly, "That's because I'm saving and helping you at the same time by becoming the territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain." "What do you mean?" Black Wolf retracted his smile and asked expressionlessly. "Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River has coveted Howling Moon Mountain for a long time. If they form an alliance, Howling Moon Mountain will be destroyed instantly." Suzimo said indifferently, "From what I know, Cyclone Cave has been itching to make a move. A few days ago, they even sent a few fiend demons to spy, but 2 of them were killed by you." Black Wolf's expression changed and his eyes flashed with a hint of disbelief. Most of the fiend demons of Howling Moon Mountain knew about the matter involving Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River. However, he and Chanrui were the only ones who knew about what happened that night. How did this man find out? Instinctively, Black Wolf turned to Chanrui. In fact, faint suspicions towards Chanrui even surfaced. Chanrui had a clear gaze and looked back at Black Wolf without avoiding before shaking her head. Instantly, the doubts in Black Wolf's heart vanished. After a moment of silence, he said, "The 3 territories are forming an alliance to overthrow me, and you're the same. What's the difference between you guys? Saving me? Helping me? What a joke." "Of course it will be different." Suzimo said, "First, I won't take your life if I become the territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain. Second, Howling Moon Mountain will survive." Black Wolf remained silent. Those 2 points were indeed important. He had a deep grudge with the 3 territories, and he would definitely die if they were to form an alliance. Howling Moon Mountain would cease to exist as well, split up by the 3 territories. As for how I'm going to save and help you, that's even easier to explain. Suzimo smiled. "I'll become the territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain and will naturally take over the matter of defending against the 3 territories. All you have to do is assist me." "All right, everything is clear. Right now, there's only a single question left." Slowly, Black Wolf rose with a torrential ferocity as he glared at Suzimo and sneered, "What rights do you have?" Chapter 8:19, 1 verses 2. Chapter 8:19, 1 verses 2. Boom. Victory was already decided on the other side of the battlefield, accompanied by a loud boom. Although Bronze Bull had reverted to his true form, Monkey pinned him fiercely into the ground by grabbing his horns, creating a huge pit. Bronze Bull's face was filled with blood and was smashed into a complete mess, almost fainting. Monkey had a frightening bloodline, and his combat strength was only inferior to Suzimo and Night Spirit within the 7 sworn siblings. In his berserk state, Monkey was even able to take on the Rakshasa race. He had only just cultivated his essence spirit and was at early-stage nascent soul realm. Although Bronze Bull was a late-stage nascent soul, a major cultivation realm above Monkey, he was not a match for the latter and was defeated in less than a dozen breaths. Monkey did not kill Bronze Bull and leaped back the moment he secured victory. Bronze Bull struggled to stand up with a twisted expression as he panted. Demonic chi surged around him and he growled deeply. He was almost out of his mind and wanted to charge forward once more. Back down. Black Wolf's voice sounded with a cold authority. Aren't you done with making a fool of yourself? Bronze Bull shuddered as though he had just been drenched with a bucket of ice water. Gradually, he sobered up and backed off to the side despite his indignance. Black Wolf's gaze was fixed on Su Zimo the entire time as he said slowly with a cold expression. Tell me, what rights do you have? The 5 of you alone aren't qualified to take on my position. We're enough, Su Zimo smiled. The moment he said that, Su Zimo's figure flashed, and he struck the territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain all of a sudden. Moreover, he took on 2 people with his attack and engulfed Black Wolf and Chanruri within. Such guts! Black Wolf was enraged and felt his vision blur the moment he said those 2 words. A torrential might gushed towards him in a deafening manner. The pressure was suffocating. Although he was a mid-level fiend demon, the envelopment of the power felt slightly unbearable still. It was too fast. The 2 of them were not too far apart to begin with, and Su Zimo had already closed in instantly. In fact, Black Wolf thought that he was hallucinating. He seemed to have heard the sound of tsunamis that shook his mind. What's this demonic art? It's making me hallucinate. He turned his gaze and saw Su Zimo circled by blood chi with rumbling demonic chi. However, there were no traces of Dharmic power. Wait, it's not a hallucination. The sound of tsunami is real. In a flash, Black Wolf sobered up and thought of a possibility as he exclaimed, "Tsunami blood." Although demons placed emphasis on the cultivation and quality of one's bloodline, only few of them could cultivate to the realm of tsunami blood. Black Wolf did not have time to take out any weapons and could only prop up his arms in defense. Bang! Su Zimo's fist struck the intersection where Black Wolf's arms crossed and the dull sound of defeat echoed. Ugh! Black Wolf grunted and staggered in retreat. His arm's hand gone completely numb. However, Su Zimo did not retreat at all, and even had strength remaining to fight Chanrui. Black Wolf was shocked. He was a mid-level fiend demon and a territorial lord, a full major cultivation realm higher than this person before him. He had many years more to temper his body using Dharmic powers as well. Even so, his bloodline and physique could not defend against the charge of this person. What a terrifying burst power! On the other side, Chanrui burst in retreat. Thankfully, she had already withdrawn her Dharmic weapons before this and wielded them in her hands. Su Zimo charged over and Chanrui's eyes squinted slightly. With a tremble, her curved sabers cut an arc through the air, creating 2 cold beams that slit towards Su Zimo's wrist instantly. The speed of the 2 slashes was extremely fast. Coupled with Su Zimo's overwhelming aura and force, Chanrui believed that even a mid-level fiend demon won't be able to dodge. This is for the best. I'll sever one of your wrists to teach you a lesson. That was what Chanrui thought. Unexpectedly, Su Zimo did not dodge at all. He flicked his finger gently against the 2 incoming cold beams. A few fingernails flicked out with a chilling aura and struck the 2 cold beams precisely like sharp blades. Clang! Clang! Sparks flew along with 2 crisp sounds. Chanrui whined and her curved sabers were repelled from her hands. Her palms had split open. The Rat King stood at the side and his beady eyes widened in disbelief. He had considered the possibility that Su Zimo's combat strength would be extraordinary. However, he had not expected Su Zimo to gain the upper hand even in a 1 versus 2 situation. Black Wolf and Chanrui were mid-level fiend demons after all and regained their composure swiftly, merely flustered for a split second. Both of their figures retreated at almost the same time. Lad, you are strong in melee combat. However, It's not enough if you intend to merely rely on that to overthrow my position as a territorial lord. Black Wolf's glabella shone, and he hollered deeply, "Watch out!" No matter what, Suzimo was formidable in melee combat. Because of that, Black Wolf regarded him as a talent and gave a warning out of goodwill, not wanting to kill Suzimo. Swoosh! Two powerful spirit consciousnesses engulfed the entire place with a boundless might. Only void reversions and mid-level fiend demons could release spirit consciousness attacks. If it was any other low-level fiend demon, their essence spirit would have been repressed completely in fright against the pressure of the spirit consciousness, such that they would not even be able to release their Dharmic powers. However, scarlet scales appeared one after another on the body of the scarlet-haired spirit within Suzimo's spirit consciousness. He was able to deflect the incoming spirit consciousness. He was completely unaffected even against the envelopment of the spirit consciousnesses of two territorial lords. Fufu, there's no need for both of you to show mercy. I won't be taken down by a mere spirit consciousness attack. Suzimo chuckled and dashed towards Black Wolf and Chanrui in huge strides. Both Black Wolf and Chanrui frowned. Neither of them wanted to kill Suzimo. That was why they did not release their Essence Spirit secret skills. The killing power of Essence Spirit secret skills was extremely terrifying and was something that the Essence Spirit of low-level fiend demons could not defend against. If they could not defend against it, their Essence Spirits would be destroyed and they would die on the spot. However, both of them had no other choice. Roar! In midair, a terrifying spirit consciousness fluctuation burst forward. The tremendous spirit consciousness materialized into a pitch-black murderous wolf that lunged in Suzimo's direction with an open mouth. OM. On the other side, Chanrui's spirit consciousness split into two in midair and turned into two cold beams that arrived instantly. The attacks of both essence spirits had descended. Suzimo slowed down as well with a grim expression. Those were essence spirit secret skills and could not be compared with spirit consciousness attacks. If he handled them the wrong way and his essence spirit was damaged, it might leave an injury that could not be healed. He was a low-level fiend demon at nascent soul realm after all. He did not dare to be careless against an attack of this level. Prior to this, he had only experienced the might of the two essence spirit secret skills once from a distance. However, that experience could not be compared to the current situation where he was directly involved. Instantly, a thought crossed Suzimo's mind. Even if his essence spirits were to fuse and release a spirit consciousness attack, it would be difficult for him to defend against these two essence spirit secret skills. Chapter 820, Subdued. Chapter 820, Subdued. If Suzimo did not understand Black Wolf and Chanrui's capabilities and received essence spirit secret skills from them all of a sudden, he would have been flustered. However, prior to this, he roamed with his essence spirit and witnessed the might of their essence spirit secret skills. As such, he had already thought of a way to deal with them. With a single thought from Suzimo, rays of golden light extended from his left wrist in a saintly and flawless manner, creating an indestructible barrier around him. Boom! Clang! Clang! In midair, when the Black Wolf materialized from spirit consciousness and the two curved sabers that were as thin as cicada wings slashed the barrier, a deafening boom echoed. The golden barrier trembled and a series of ripples appeared. It managed to defend against the two essence spirit secret skills completely. This, Black Wolf and Chanrui were shocked. Ordinary Dharmic weapons could defend against Dharmic arts, normal weapons, and the burst of various different powers. However, they could not defend against the power of an essence spirit. If one wanted to defend against an essence spirit secret skill, they would have to either go head-on with the power of their own essence spirit or utilize special essence spirit Dharmic weapons. However, essence spirit Dharmic weapons were way too rare and difficult to refine. Even among the cultivation world, there were few of them, and they were even rarer than connate Dharmic weapons, let alone in the world of demons. Right now, the golden barrier managed to block both essence spirit secret skills completely. This meant that their enemy was in possession of an essence spirit Dharmic weapon. Furthermore, the essence spirit Dharmic weapon was extremely powerful. Although he was only at nascent soul realm, he was able to use that essence spirit Dharmic weapon to defend against their combined attacks. Both Black Wolf and Chan Rui were at a loss. Indeed, Su Zimo was in possession of an essence spirit Dharmic weapon. This Dharmic weapon was given to him by the old monk at the bottom of the Dragon Burial Valley. It was one of the treasures that held up the Daming Monastery in the past, the Mingwang prayer beads. Initially, there were 6 beads for the Mingwang prayer beads, and they were carried around by the titular disciple of Daming Monastery at the time, Monk Daming. However, as the sands of time passed, Monk Daming's demise resulted in the scattering of the Mingwang prayer beads. Right now, it was incomplete with only 4 prayer beads. Even so, the 4 Mingwang prayer beads were not to be underestimated. At the Golden Core realm, it was difficult for Su Zimo to control the Mingwang prayer beads. He could only wear it on his wrist and use it to block the detection of spirit consciousnesses. It was only after he cultivated his essence spirit that he was able to make use of some of the Mingwang prayer beads' power. Of course, the true power of the Mingwang prayer beads would only be unleashed after he advanced to the Void Reversion realm and achieved higher attainments in his cultivation. Right now, the Mingwang prayer beads could only be used by him to defend against essence spirits. However, that was more than enough. It was sufficient to defend against the essence spirit secret skills of the 2 territorial lords. Instantly, things changed on the battlefield. The fact that Black Wolf and Chan Rui's essence spirit secret skills were rendered useless meant that they would have to endure Su Zimo's torrential and suffocating melee combat attacks. Bang, 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 bang. There was a series of deafening sounds. Shadows fluttered in a dizzying manner. In less than 10 breaths, Black Wolf and Chan Rui were sent flying as they smashed onto the stone walls behind them heavily, sliding down in a slow manner. Su Zimo stood opposite them not far away quietly with a clear gaze. His attire was tidy and prim, as though he had not moved at all. It was a complete defeat. Black Wolf and Chan Rui had pale expressions and felt like their bones were about to split. However, they grit their teeth and did not make any sound. Both of them looked at Su Zimo with conflicted expressions. They were both smart and could clearly sense that this man had shown mercy earlier on. Otherwise, given his capabilities, it would have been extremely to him to kill them off once he had the advantage earlier on. Suddenly, Black Wolf thought of something that sent his heart racing. If he had truly reneged on his words earlier and ordered for this man to be killed, he would have been a corpse lying on the ground at this moment. His mercy towards Su Zimo was in fact mercy for himself. In truth, Black Wolf was not far off the mark. Indeed, those were Su Zimo's intentions when he headed here. They wanted to take over as kings, but they did not have much helpers under their liege. It would naturally be for the best if they could recruit Black Wolf and Chan Rui without bloodshed. Bronze Bull's eyes widened and his jaws nearly fell onto the ground. He had truly not expected this outcome for the battle. 2 territorial lords had actually lost to a low-level fiend demon that had just broken through. He would not have believed this if he had not seen it personally. Territorial lords, are you guys fine? Bronze Bull asked warily. Black Wolf waved it off and stood up. He glared at Su Zimo and said slowly, I've lost. Indeed, you are qualified to be the territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain. However, I'm only acknowledging your potential. Black Wolf emphasized as he continued, given your potential, nobody around here should be able to threaten you if you continue cultivating and advance to become a mid-level fiend demon. But the you right now? He did not continue. Chan Rui said as well, it's not enough if you think that you can resolve the crisis of Howling Moon Mountain using the capabilities and essence spirit Dharmic weapon you revealed earlier. I've got my own plans on how to resolve the crisis of Howling Moon Mountain. Su Zimo replied nonchalantly, all you need to tell me is whether you will submit to me. The cave abode went silent. Black Wolf was undecided and had a hesitant expression. Anybody that could become territorial lords were capable characters. Now that he was suddenly asked to relinquish his position as a territorial lord and submit to others, it was definitely a truth he was struggling to accept. However, Black Wolf knew that he would be in an even worse state if the 3 territories were to come for them. Not only would he die, Howling Moon Mountain would cease to exist as well. That was something he could not accept at all. At that thought, Black Wolf gripped his fists gently and said in a deep voice, "Since I've lost, I've got no objections. I'm willing to relinquish my position as a territorial lord. However, I hope that you will be able to protect Howling Moon Mountain and treat every single demon here well." "Territorial lord," Bronze Bull yelled. Black Wolf waved it off. "I've already decided. There's no need to say more." "All right." Su Zimo nodded and declared, "From this day forth, there will be another deputy territorial lord in Howling Moon Mountain, Black Wolf. Chan Rui will still be the deputy territorial lord and maintain her original status." Monkey and the others were excited. This meant that from this moment forth, the 5 of them sworn siblings had a territory of their own. Black Wolf pondered for a moment and asked with cupped fists, "I've yet to know your name, territorial lord. Also, what is your true form?" To be fair, although he had already relinquished his position as a territorial lord, Black Wolf still had a tinge of indignance in his heart towards this young man. However, he felt that he could not read this person either. Even after their fight, he could not figure out what the true form of this person was. It was the same for Chan Rui. Su Zimo thought for a moment and said, "You guys can call me Imo from this day forth." "Imo?" Black Wolf and Chan Rui murmured softly. Compared to human cultivators, demons were much more easygoing with their names. It was extremely common for single-character names as well. There were even many demon beasts such as Monkey who could not even be bothered to give themselves a name. Both of them exchanged glances and could see the confusion in the other's eyes. Although Su Zimo only replied to one of the questions, Black Wolf and Chan Rui were tactful and did not push further. Chapter 821, Dealings. Chapter 821, Dealings. The territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain had changed. A huge stir broke out in the entire territory as the news spread swiftly. The Rat King and Bronze Bull were the only demons who witnessed the fight in the cave abode personally. Most of the other demons were confused. The only thing they knew was that their original territorial lord, Black Wolf, became a deputy territorial lord after meeting the few of them, and there was a change in the territorial lord. Everything happened way too quickly and peacefully. It was as though the owner of Howling Moon Mountain had changed overnight without any signs of enemy infiltration. No large-scale ceremony was held either after the change of territorial lord. Everything ended after a personal announcement from Black Wolf and Chan Rui. Many demons did not even know what the new territorial lord looked like. The entire affair seemed extremely fishy. "I heard that there are 5 new territorial lords, and they are sworn siblings. They are a group of 5 indeed, and I've even seen 4 of them before. There's a monkey, tiger, crane, and a fox. However, these 4 territorial lords are all low-level fiend demons, and their cultivation realms are only at early-stage nascent soul." "Huh? How is that possible? Low-level fiend demons are now the territorial lords of Howling Moon Mountain?" "I heard that the boss of the 5 siblings, the lead territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain right now, is extremely strong. He must definitely be a mid-level fiend demon." "Have you seen the main territorial lord? What's his true form?" "No, I haven't. The main territorial lord hasn't shown himself before and is extremely mysterious. I've only heard that he is called Imo." During this period of time, there were often demons that grouped together and discussed everything excitedly. In less than 3 days, news of this spread to Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River and created quite a stir as well. There was a spacious hall within the depths of a cave with a bloody and sinister aura. Within the hall, there were thin, blood threads that resembled blood vessels that hung from both sides of the walls. A man sat on the blood threads, perfectly balanced as he held a jade cup in his left hand. It was filled with a grisly red fluid that was still warm. The man raised the cup to his nose and took a deep breath, revealing an intoxicated expression with half-closed eyes. The territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain has changed. Could Black Sand Ridge or Ghastly River have beaten us to it? The man murmured to himself, No, no. It shouldn't be anyone from those two territories. After a moment, his eyes bolted wide open with a bloody glint as he said deeply, Go and investigate further. Understood. A voice echoed through the chamber. Immediately after, the sound of wings flapping reverberated and a streak of blood light flew through the top of the hall within its darkness. It vanished into the distance before long. Unhurriedly, the man drank the red fluid in the cup in a single mouthful and licked his lips with a grisly red tongue. Yes, refreshing. Black Sand Ridge. During this period of time, the demons of Black Sand Ridge had been on their toes. The young master of Black Sand Ridge lost his physical body and returned with severe injuries. However, the culprit was never apprehended. Not long after, the young master of Black Sand Ridge failed his assimilation attempt and perished completely. There were many restrictions to an essence spirit's assimilation, and it was extremely dangerous. For an assimilation to take place, the cultivation realm of the assimilated being must not be too low. He must be at the nascent soul realm at least with an unlocked spirit platform. The difference in cultivation realm between the assimilating and assimilated must not be too great either. Otherwise, if the essence spirit was overly powerful and the latter's body could not withstand it after the assimilation took place, it would explode right away. In other words, there would only be success if their cultivation realms were relatively close. In reality, an assimilation process was a fight between the essence spirits. If their cultivation realms were close, it meant that it was difficult to predict the victory of a fight between essence spirits. There were many examples of an essence spirit that was devoured instead during a failed assimilation process. That was the case for the young master of Black Sand Ridge. At the end of the day, assimilation was an evil process. That was because, in essence, an assimilation was to steal the life of others for someone to continue with theirs. It would not be overboard to deem it as an evil craft. However, most beings cultivated for the sake of longevity. Even those of the orthodox path would resort to despicable means despite knowing that the assimilation process was evil. The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge was enraged at the demise of the young master and slaughtered many demon beasts. In fact, he even murdered 2 protectors personally because they made wrong comments by accident. All the demons knew that many other demon beasts would have to die if the culprit was not apprehended. This day, a piece of news that shattered the tension in Black Sand Ridge arrived. 5 people, a monkey, a spirit tiger, an immortal crane, a fox, all of whom are low-level fiend demons. The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge's eyes squinted with a cold, killing intent. If he was not wrong, there was a high chance that the 5 of them were the culprits that killed his child. To think that they've run off to Howling Moon Mountain, foo-foo. The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge had a menacing expression as he laughed sinisterly. Let's see where you can run off to after I destroy Howling Moon Mountain. Ghastly River. A young man dressed in light blue luxurious robes laid on a colorful coral reef bed. He had a relaxed expression and was sipping wine when he heard the news from his underling river demon. Oh! The young man in luxurious robes was extremely calm and merely gave a one-word reply when he heard that. Territorial Lord, I heard that Cyclone Cave and Black Sand Ridge have been making moves recently. There's a high chance that those 2 territories are going to strike Howling Moon Mountain soon. A river demon beside the coral reef bed said in a deep voice. The man in luxurious robes waved it off. A black scorpion and a stinky bat pose no threat at all. The river demon added, I heard that the new territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain, Mo, is extremely mysterious and had not shown himself the entire time. He must be rather capable to overthrow Black Wolf. He can't be that strong either since he's sworn siblings with 4 other low-level fiend demons. The man in luxurious robes declared proudly with a faint smile, If he is capable, I'll appreciate his talent and try to recruit him under my wing. If he's ordinary, I'll just kill him. When are you preparing to attack, territorial lord? The next few days. The man in luxurious robes mulled. Yes, it seems as though a treasure of sorts has appeared recently in Howling Moon Mountain in the past 2 months. We can't let others get their hands on it first. His true form was a Wyrm. There was a thin connection to the bloodline of the dragon race that flowed within his body. However, that thin connection to the dragon race's bloodline was enough for him to become the top existence among ferocious beasts. The aura of the dragon race that emanated from the direction of Howling Moon Mountain was imperceptible. Although other demon beasts may not have been able to sense it as a Wyrm, he could vaguely sense it. At the very least, he felt shudders from that aura. It was a threat that originated from the depths of his bloodline. This aura must be from the treasure that had appeared, and it definitely had something to do with the dragon race. If I can get my hands on that treasure, my strength is bound to explode. In fact, there's a chance for me to transform into a true dragon in my lifetime. The river demon was shocked and knelt onto the ground hurriedly as he declared loudly, "Congratulations, territorial lord." The man in luxurious robes rose slowly and gazed into the distance. If that day comes, even the entire 1,000-demon valley won't be able to contain me, let alone this measly, ghastly river. Chapter 822, Seclusion. Chapter 822, Seclusion. The reason why Suzimo had not appeared was not because he wanted to maintain a mysterious front. After he subdued Black Wolf and Chan Rui the other day, he sensed quite a bit of commotion in his spirit consciousness. He had to undergo seclusion. The creation Green Lotus was finally restored. The greatest benefit of having 2 essence spirits was that they could cultivate individually without affecting the other. In Howling Moon Mountain, Suzimo used the scarlet-haired Een spirit as the master essence spirit most of the time, while the black-haired essence spirit continued its cultivation in a corner. Even when Suzimo was engaging Black Wolf and Chan Rui in the cave abode, the black-haired essence spirit did not stop in its cultivation. Its never-ending and long cultivation finally brought about a reward worth celebrating. The creation Green Lotus was awakened. Suzimo made rough preparations for most matters and headed to seclusion thereafter. He had an extremely tight schedule. Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River could attack Howling Moon Mountain at any moment, and it was bound to be a bitter fight. As long as he won this battle, he could establish himself properly within the 1,000-demon valley and would no longer have to flee for his life. Suzimo had just advanced to the nascent soul realm and had 3 top-tier spirit refinement cultivation techniques with him. There were many things that he needed to cultivate further. As long as he had enough time, his combat strength would definitely rise at an unimaginable speed. Therefore, Suzimo had no intention of rushing through his seclusion. Ever since he left the Dragon Burial Valley, he had fought the entire way. He overwhelmed all the paragons, obtained the number 1 spot on the phenomenon ranking, defeated Deen, and suppressed 2 of the primordial 9 races in a domineering manner, all without stopping. This time round, he had to stop and enter a true seclusion so that he could consolidate everything and cultivate. After he entered the secret chamber, Suzimo assumed a lotus position and entered his spirit consciousness with a single thought. He saw the black-haired essence spirit sitting on a green lotus platform that hovered in midair. It was filled with life, and green petals had already bloomed around the lotus platform. There were a total of 9 petals. All of them were in an infancy state and were tender and soft, yet to have truly grown. There were 9 small pores on the lotus platform with lotus seeds that shone with a bright glow in them. Suzimo could clearly sense that the creation Green Lotus was growing gradually while absorbing the power of the black-haired essence spirit. However, at the same time, Suzimo discovered that the creation Green Lotus was also assisting his spirit refinement process. Rays of light spilled out of the 9 pores on the lotus platform, and they circled around the black-haired essence spirit, refining it continuously. Under the refinement of the 9 rays of light, the black-haired essence spirit became even more powerful. In fact, it was further materialized and even showed signs of catching up to the scarlet-haired Een spirit. Suzumo was delighted when he sensed the changes. This must be one of the reasons why the creation Green Lotus was so mystifying. The scarlet-haired Een spirit originated from the dragon race and was extremely powerful. Even at the nascent soul realm, it was able to leave the physical body and roam the world outside. Although the black-haired essence spirit cultivated 2 heaven-grade cultivation techniques, the Purple Thunder Manual and Great Day Rulai Sutra, it could not reach that level yet. Now that the black-haired essence spirit obtained the refinement of the creation Green Lotus, there was also a chance for it to be able to roam the outside world even at the nascent soul realm. Of course, although the creation Green Lotus was successfully awakened, this treasure required the nourishment of the power of essence spirit and grew at an extremely slow pace. Monk In Lu once said that the creation Green Lotus could match perfected Lord Dharmic weapons once it was at grade 4. At grade 5, it could even match Connate Void Reversion Dharmic weapons. Right now, the creation Green Lotus could only be considered as grade 1 at best. Given the current speed, it would take a couple hundred years for it to grow to grade 4. Suzumo was secretly speechless. It was no wonder why this treasure was already passed around through several dozen paragons. However, most of them were burdened by it, and in the end, nobody even wanted it anymore. Even with 2 heaven-grade cultivation techniques to back the black-haired essence spirit, it still required a couple hundred years of effort. For any other cultivator, it would take them at least 1,000 years if they wanted to nurture the creation Green Lotus to grade 4. However, the lifespan of nascent souls was only 1,000 years. How could any paragon be able to spare that amount of time? Thankfully, Suzumo had the scarlet-haired Een spirit, along with his black-haired essence spirit. The nourishment from both essence spirits at the same time meant that the creation Green Lotus would grow at an even faster speed. At the same time, the fact that Suzumo possessed 2 essence spirits meant that he could refine 2 destiny Dharmic weapons. The black-haired essence spirit's destiny Dharmic weapon was confirmed to be the creation Green Lotus. However, the scarlet-haired Een spirit did not have a destiny Dharmic weapon yet. Right now, Suzumo had 3 treasures with him that could be used as destiny Dharmic weapons: the Mingwang Prayer Beads, Mystic Magnet Mountain, and Bronze Square Tripod. The Mingwang Prayer Beads were the foundation of Daming Monastery, and it was needless to talk about how precious they were. Unfortunately, right now, the Mingwang Prayer Beads were incomplete. Furthermore, the Mingwang Prayer Beads were from the Buddhist monasteries, and it was unsuitable to refine them for the scarlet-haired Een spirit. The Mystic Magnet Mountain one was of the 7 great unique treasures. Although it was not a spirit weapon or a Dharmic weapon, it possessed an extraordinary and unique capability. When used appropriately, it could secure a surprise victory. However, its full potential might not be able to be unleashed if it was refined as a destiny Dharmic weapon. As for the Bronze Square Tripod, this treasure had an unknown origin, and it was battered and lined with cracks. However, Suzumo had managed to tide through quite a few predicaments after he obtained it. Everything else aside, Suzumo had never seen anything that could compare to this tripod in terms of toughness. After pondering for a long time, Suzumo decided to refine the Bronze Square Tripod. In the cave abode, he assumed a lotus position with his eyes closed. He was motionless, as though he had fallen asleep. However, in reality, within his spirit consciousness, both essence spirits cultivated at the same time and neither slacked off. While the scarlet-haired Een spirit was cultivating the Een spirit section, it was refining the Bronze Square Tripod, establishing a connection by imprinting its spirit consciousness mark on the tripod repeatedly. As the black-haired essence spirit cultivated the Purple Thunder Manual and Great Day Rulai Sutra, it was refining the creation Green Lotus as well. Among the 3 top-tier cultivation techniques, the Een spirit section had no Dharmic art associated with it and was purely a spirit refinement technique. Only the Yang spirit section had a Dharmic art and an essence spirit secret skill. Both of those secret skills had an extremely high demand for the essence spirit. Furthermore, there were many incomprehensible words in the 2 secret skills of the Yang spirit section and were difficult to understand. as though they possessed boundless power. According to the records of the Yang Spirit section, the two secret skills were the most terrifying killing moves of the desolate Ocean Dragon King. Su Zimo was slightly disappointed that he was unable to cultivate the two secret skills for the time being. The true strength of the Great Day Rulai Sutra was that in the later stage of its cultivation, one could conjure a supreme Dharma characteristic of the Buddhist monasteries, the Rulai Dharmic body. The front part of the cultivation technique focused on refining the spirit. There was an essence spirit secret skill recorded in it. Unfortunately, Su Zimo had just advanced to the nascent soul and was not at the stage where he was able to cultivate an essence spirit secret skill. The Purple Thunder Manual had a few Dharmic arts recorded in the front part. The black-haired essence spirit cultivated those Dharmic arts as it refined the creation green lotus. Day after day, the sun rose and set. In the blink of an eye, Su Zimo had spent half a year in seclusion. Within the secret chamber, a figure sat quietly. His hair turned scarlet and black from time to time, and there was an occasional streak of lightning that crackled across his body. Su Zimo was motionless for the past half a year. On the surface, it was as though nothing changed, and he still wore the same set of green robes. However, if one were to close their eyes, they would be able to sense a shuddering aura within the secret chamber. It was as though an ancient grand demon was devouring the world within. Chapter 823, Demons Assembled. Chapter 823, Demons Assembled. This day, dark clouds filled the skies of Howling Moon Mountain and raging cyclones howled. A storm was approaching. Both Black Wolf and Chan Rui walked out from their cave abodes. They reared their heads and frowned slightly with grim expressions. Dark clouds were overcast. Both of them could sense killing intent within the rumbling dark clouds that were as black as ink. At their cultivation realm, they had a keen sense towards danger. It was like an innate instinct. "It's finally about to begin?" Chan Rui murmured softly. Black Wolf said in a deep voice, "Relay the orders to prepare for war." Understood. The Rat King retreated with cupped fists and vanished before long. Right then, Monkey, the spirit tiger, Ching Ching and Little Fox exited their seclusions as well and arrived here. Black Wolf swept his gaze across the four of them. When he did not catch sight of the person he wanted to see, he was hesitant but still could not help but remark, "The storm is approaching. Is Territorial Lord Amo going to? He's in seclusion. There's no need to disturb him." Monkey waved it off. "He will naturally come forth if strong enemies truly arrive." The moment he said that, shuffling sounds could be heard from the distance. They grew clearer and clearer, as though countless ants were crawling on the ground. The ancient trees swayed and snapped one after another. Initially, the area in that distant direction was filled with lush greenery. However, as the shuffling sound approached, the greenery withered along the way. In the blink of an eye, all life was severed as trees and grass withered. What a strong poison! Ching Ching furrowed her brows slightly as she took a small sniff. Chan Rui said, "Black Sand Ridge should be here." At that moment, the demon army of Howling Moon Mountain was assembled. There were more than 10,000 golden core spirit demons and more than 50 low-level fiend demons. Black Wolf and Chan Rui were the only mid-level fiend demons, and they were already gathered here. Before long, the withered grass patch in the distance creeped towards them. All the demons turned over. A scorpion army was charging over in a dense patch, and everywhere they passed, life was severed, leaving nothing but barren land in their wake. Right at the front, there were 100 low-level fiend demons in human forms that stood on the black scorpions. The leader was a black-robed man with a grim expression. He reeked of a nauseating stench and was none other than the territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge. Behind him, there were 5 mid-level fiend demons with powerful auras. The expressions of the Howling Moon Mountain demons changed. It was clear that the strength of the Black Sand Ridge army surpassed Howling Moon Mountain. Black Wolf clenched his fists and said darkly, "Scorpion, you can't hold yourself back after all. I'm not here today for Howling Moon Mountain. The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge swept his gaze coldly across Black Sand Ridge and Chan Rui. He looked straight at Monkey and the other three and asked in a frosty voice, "Did you guys kill anyone in Black Sand Ridge half a year ago?" "We did. So what?" Monkey reared his head with a prideful expression and asked instead with a sneer. "All right." The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge nodded. "Since you admit to it, that will save us some trouble. Today, I'm going to have you lot accompany my son in burial." "That scorpion?" The spirit tiger frowned. "I remembered him escaping. However, he failed his assimilation later on and is now dead." The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge snarled word by word with a chilling tone. The spirit tiger burst into laughter and rolled his eyes. "That's not our fault, though. He can only blame himself for being too stupid. You must have a death wish." The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge grit his teeth and turned his gaze towards Black Wolf, asking coldly, "Black Wolf, if you hand the four of them over to me, I might consider sparing your life." Black Wolf merely shook his head with a smile without replying. There was no way out for him in Howling Moon Mountain. "I heard earlier on that there are new territorial lords in Howling Moon Mountain, and they are just a bunch of low-level fiend demons." "Fufu. I refused to believe it at first, but now, it seems like the rumors are real." Another voice sounded in midair. Immediately after, dark clouds rumbled as figures descended one after another in the vicinity. There were at least 10,000 of them, and they spread across the mountains and wilderness. The leader was a man with a skinny face. He sneered with sharp teeth and exuded a sinister aura. He was none other than the territorial lord of Cyclone Cave. Behind the territorial lord of Cyclone Cave were 7 mid-level fiend demons who possessed murderous intents. The territorial lord of Cyclone Cave hid his demons in the dark clouds and concealed their existence to travel along with the winds. Their sudden descent onto Howling Moon Mountain was a shocking scene. Black Wolf and Chan Rui exchanged glances. Both of them could see the shock in the other's eyes. Everything else aside, Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave had the complete advantage in numbers of spirit demons and low-level fiend demons. The two territories also possessed an absolute edge in the number of mid-level fiend demons. Including the territorial lord, there were 6 mid-level fiend demons from Black Sand Ridge. Including the territorial lord, there were 8 from Cyclone Cave. Even if Black Wolf and Chan Rui had to fight the two territorial lords alone, they might not be able to secure victory, let alone with 12 remaining mid-level fiend demons right now. Although their new territorial lord, Emo, was strong in combat, he had just advanced to the nascent soul realm after all, and everybody knew that. How could he defend against the combined attacks of 12 mid-level fiend demons? Black Wolf took a deep breath and said, "Indeed, the territorial lords of Howling Moon Mountain have changed. It is the few of them beside me." "Ha ha ha ha." The territorial lord of Cyclone Cave reared his head in wild laughter, as though he had heard the greatest joke in the world. "To think that you've given up your seat to a few low-level fiend demons. Preposterous. Amusing. Black Wolf, you sure have embarrassed your entire family." The demons of Howling Moon Mountain lowered their heads with indignant and ashamed expressions. Even the demon beasts of Howling Moon Mountain could not understand what happened, let alone outsiders. Black Wolf's expression was ashen. Indeed, the entire thing did not sound nice. He had no way of explaining things either. Was he going to have to acknowledge in front of everyone that he had lost to a low-level fiend demon? The territorial lord of Cyclone Cave continued, "Black Wolf, Chan Rui, neither of you will survive even if you are not the territorial lords now. Half a year ago, the two of you killed 2 fiend demons under my liege. Today, I'm going to have you pay with blood." The moment he said that, the atmosphere around Howling Moon Mountain became extremely tense. A fight could break out at any moment between the 3 factions. Splash! Right then, there was a downpour. Although the rain was heavy, it could not wash away the murderous aura around the demons. Killing intent spread through the entire forest, and a blood stench emanated. The clothes on the demons were drenched by the rain before long. Although bead-sized raindrops slid down their faces, nobody made a move. Any sudden motion right now could cause a huge battle. Interesting. Another voice sounded in the rain with a mocking intent. It's him. The hearts of Black Wolf, the territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave, as well as all the mid-level fiend demons, skipped a beat as they turned towards the voice. Bang! Boom! Boom! In a valley not far away, there was a loud splash that sounded as though a torrent had burst through. A torrential current blanketed the world and surged forward with a howling force. The gigantic wave almost drowned the entire Howling Moon Mountain. The demons were shocked. Even the demon beasts of Cyclone Cave and Black Sand Ridge retreated by instinct, afraid that they might be sucked into it. However, the gigantic wave stopped all of a sudden right before it reached Howling Moon Mountain, as though it was held back by some mysterious energy. The capability to stop an apocalyptic torrent as such was even more frightening. The torrent splashed with raging tides in front of the demons. Above the largest waterspout, there was a figure with hands behind his back. He stood upright and proud with an extremely pressurizing aura. In the torrent behind him, the shadows of river demons could faintly be seen submerged within the waters. Chapter 824, Battle Commencement. Chapter 824, Battle Commencement. It was the territorial lord of Ghastly River, Solitary Cloud. That was a name he gave himself. Most of the time, he was alone. At the same time, he was the only mid-level fiend demon in Ghastly River, and there was no deputy territorial lord. Hence the word solitary. Clouds obeyed dragons while winds obeyed tigers. The cloud word symbolized his ambitions. One day, he was going to transform into a true dragon. He was going to head to the dwelling of the dragon race and join them as a true member. The appearance of Solitary Cloud meant that the three territories, Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River, were all gathered here. The three territorial lords stood in different directions and exuded a mighty aura. Their pressure was suffocating as their presence overwhelmed the place. The hearts of Black Wolf and Chan Rui sank a little more. Solitary Cloud stood on a waterspout with his hands behind his back. He looked down at the demon beasts of Howling Moon Mountain indifferently and said in a slow manner, Black Sand Ridge is here to take revenge for your young master, so the 4 low-level fiend demons are who you want. Cyclone Cave is here to take revenge for your underlings, so Black Wolf and Chan Rui are who you want. Since that's the case, the territory of Howling Moon Mountain shall belong to Ghastly River. Humph. The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge harumphed coldly. Solitary Cloud, Howling Moon Mountain has a vast territory. Do you think you can take it all? Solitary Cloud, aren't you way too greedy? The expression of the territorial lord of Cyclone Cave darkened as well as he frowned deeply. Although the 2 territorial lords were displeased, they did not dare to get too harsh with their statements. While there was only one mid-level fiend demon in Ghastly River, his true form was a Wyrm. This was a top-tier existence among pure-blooded ferocious beasts with a frightening bloodline. Even if they joined forces, they might not be Solitary Cloud's match. Do I sense objections from the 2 of you? Solitary Cloud's gaze shifted slowly towards the territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave. There was a chilling, killing intent in his tone. Although Black Wolf and Chan Rui were expressionless when they saw that, they were secretly delighted. The best outcome right now would be for Black Sand Ridge, Cyclone Cave, and Ghastly River to fight it out. That way, there would be a chance for Howling Moon Mountain to survive. The 2 territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave looked grim against the threat of Solitary Cloud. They were territorial lords after all, and naturally felt disrespected when they were threatened right in front of so many eyes. However, both of them exchanged glances and had a tacit understanding. Given the situation, none of them rebutted Solitary Cloud. The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge grit his teeth and swallowed his pride to declare, Solitary Cloud. We'll discuss how to divide the territory later on. Right now, the most important thing is to destroy Howling Moon Mountain as soon as possible. That's right. We must not fight amongst ourselves or Howling Moon Mountain will be the one that stands to gain. The territorial lord of Cyclone Cave nodded as well. I'm fine with that. Solitary Cloud replied nonchalantly. All of them were territorial lords, and some of them had even cultivated for several thousand years. All of them were sharp and would naturally not let Howling Moon Mountain gain by sitting out. Hee hee. Suddenly, a stifled laughter burst forth from the mountaintop. It was extremely provoking to hear. All the demons turned over and saw a monkey with a golden, shiny rod on his shoulder. He stood akimbo with one arm and smirked coldly in the direction of the 3 territorial lords. "This is Howling Moon Mountain. It's my bloody territory." Monkey pouted and patted Imminent before saying lazily, "You guys will have to ask him if you wish to divide Howling Moon Mountain." The demons of Howling Moon Mountain were astounded. The 3 territorial lords frowned at the same time. Given the current situation, Howling Moon Mountain could topple at any moment against the gigantic demon army of the 3 territories. None of the demons present would dare to guarantee that they could get out alive. The 3 territorial lords had a dominating presence. Even mid-level fiend demons like Black Wolf and Chanruri were wary in their speech and actions given the circumstances, let alone low-level fiend demons. Who would have imagined that a low-level fiend demon would dare to stand forth and provoke the 3 territorial lords? A low-level fiend demon of Black Sand Ridge could not help but hop out as he pointed to Monkey and shouted, "Wild Monkey, there's no room for you to speak here." Monkey glanced askance at the demon and sneered, "Your daddy here is the territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain. Who do you think you are to dare to speak to me?" The fiend demon was enraged and leaped into midair, yelling, "How dare a low-level fiend demon try to be a territorial lord? What a joke. I'll see what you've got. Wild Monkey, prepare to die." Monkey grinned and stood on the ground firmly. With a boom, he soared into the air and arrived before the fiend demon instantly. "Have a taste of your daddy's rod." Monkey yelled and swung Imminent with both hands, creating a beautiful arc in midair as he smashed down fiercely towards the demon's head. The force of his attack was way too ferocious. The fiend demon was initially wielding a gigantic spear that was thrust upright, aimed at Monkey's chest. However, he was shocked by the force of Monkey's attack. Frightful, he did not dare to continue with his thrust and retracted his spear hurriedly. The moment the demon lifted his spear above his head, he felt an intense vibration from his spear. His palms split apart instantly and fresh blood gushed. Immediately after, a deafening sound echoed beside his ears. The demon's mouth was agape and his eyes were filled with shock. Snap! His Dharmic weapon was snapped by the rod. The next moment, a golden light blinded him and he felt a sharp pain on his pain, losing consciousness thereafter. Right in front of the others, the low-level fiend demon of Black Sand Ridge had his head split open after his weapon was snapped by Monkey's attack. Brain juice splattered everywhere, and his essence spirit was destroyed on the spot. He was killed by a single strike. A commotion broke out everywhere in Howling Moon Mountain. Although Howling Moon Mountain had a change of territorial lords, the demons did not understand why and none of them had witnessed Monkey and the others in action. Today was the first time. It was forceful. It was domineering. It was shocking. Although Monkey's cultivation realm was low, he had indeed regained some pride for the demons of Howling Moon Mountain with that attack. All of them felt invigorated as an unexplainable joy surged through them. Ha 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 ha. Monkey reared his head in laughter after killing a fiend demon of Black Sand Ridge. In a wild manner, he looked down at the demon beasts of the 3 territories and declared loudly, "All of you nobodies, don't keep sending yourselves to die. Even I feel embarrassed for you guys." The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge had a cold expression and grit his teeth so hard that they gave off creaking sounds. "Wild Monkey, don't get cocky now." A burly man behind the territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge charged forward in a flash with a gigantic hammer in his hand. He lunged towards Monkey in huge strides. It was a mid-level fiend demon. Black Wolf recognized that this burly man should be one of the deputy territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge, the mid-level fiend demon, Duan Yong. "Don't freeze there. Save him," Black Wolf shouted. He had seen Monkey in action. In his opinion, although Monkey was strong in combat, He was not at the level where he could take on mid-level fiend demons. Right now, Territorial Lord Amo was not out of seclusion yet. As deputy Territorial Lords, they could not sit idly by the sidelines and watch Monkey and the others sink into danger. The moment Black Wolf and Chanruri made a move, the Territorial Lords of Black Sandridge and Cyclone Cave moved as well. They struck right away and held back Black Wolf and Chanruri. The Territorial Lord of Black Sand Ridge laughed sinisterly. Fufu, Black Wolf, your opponent is me. Beauty Chan, even the scent of your blood is sweet. The Territorial Lord of Cyclone Cave sniffed deeply and revealed an intoxicated expression. He was agile and possessed shocking speed, circling around Chanruri so quickly that only afterimages could be seen. Kill. The attack of a mid-level fiend demon created a chain reaction. When the Territorial Lords made their move, the demons below rallied at the same time. The battle of the demons had broken out completely. Chapter 825. Not necessarily. Chapter 825. Not necessarily. Although the river demons of Ghastly River had already charged into the battlefield, Solitary Cloud did not make a move. To be precise, he was not bothered to do so. In his opinion, the outcome of this battle was already decided the moment it began. What he wanted to do was to obtain as much territory of Howling Moon Mountain as possible and locate the treasure with the aura of the dragon race. The battlefield was split before long. The spirit demons fought against one another. The low-level fiend demons did the same. Howling Moon Mountain had significantly less spirit demons than the combined forces of Black Sandridge and Cyclone Cave. However, thankfully, they were in Howling Moon Mountain and their defense was stronger with the terrain advantage. As for the fight between the low-level fiend demons, the Spirit Tiger, Ching Ching and Little Fox led everyone and even had a slight advantage. However, neither of those battlefields were sufficient to determine the outcome of the battlefield. The truly decisive battle was between the mid-level fiend demons, and Howling Moon Mountain was completely disadvantaged for that. The mid-level fiend demons of Black Sandridge and Cyclone Cave had already made their move. Black Wolf was surrounded by a total of 5 mid-level fiend demons, led by the Territorial Lord of Black Sandridge. As for Chanruri's side, she was attacked by 8 mid-level fiend demons of Cyclone Cave at the same time. Both Black Wolf and Chanruri faced torrential, suffocating attacks right at the start of the battle. They struggled to defend and almost died in the process. Their strength was comparable to the Territorial Lords of Black Sandridge and Cyclone Cave at the most. However, Black Sandridge and Cyclone Cave had more than 10 helpers in total, and neither Black Wolf or Chanruri could deal with that. They could barely guarantee their own safety, let alone rescue Monkey. On the other side, the Deputy Territorial Lord of Black Sandridge, Duan Yong, had already begun fighting Monkey. As a mid-level fiend demon, Duan Yong naturally looked down on his fight against a fiend demon that was a major cultivation realm beneath him. That was the reason why he did not even revert to his true form at the start of the fight. Prepare to die, wild monkey. Duan Yong had a menacing gaze as he charged forward. He wielded a gigantic hammer and smashed down towards Monkey's head. Monkey's blood chi surged, and he had already transformed from his human form. Thick, long golden fur lined his body at a visible speed, and his body expanded with a torrential demonic aura. Monkey did not dodge or avoid the incoming hammer. With a fierce expression, he gripped Imminent with both hands, and the muscles on his arms bulged like molten steel. Kill! Monkey roared and swung Imminent, smashing it fiercely towards the gigantic hammer. Boom! When the gigantic hammer smashed against Imminent, sparks flew everywhere and a deafening explosion could be heard. A gigantic heat wave surged forward instantly. Duan Yong grunted dully and felt his arms go sore as he staggered in retreat continuously. He nearly lost his grip on his gigantic hammer. What tremendous strength! A look of shock flashed through Duan Yong's eyes. Even without his true form, his combat strength could definitely match a low-level fiend demon. However, this monkey before him was able to knock him back with a single rod smash. Solitary Cloud was standing idly by the sidelines when he saw this, and his eyes lit up. Wild monkey, I'm going to tear you into pieces. Duan Yong cracked his neck both ways and his bones transformed, causing his body to expand. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a gigantic bull. Duan Yong's combat strength increased significantly when he reverted to his true form. Bang! Boom! Boom! He sprinted forward in midair with a barbaric might. With his spirit consciousness, he controlled the gigantic hammer to smash it towards Monkey. At the same time, Duan Yong's massive body charged in Monkey's direction and he thrust his thick, sharp horns violently at the latter's chest. So, it's a bull demon. I'm going to send you down to meet Hades. Monkey was not flustered at all, and the scarlet glint in his eyes intensified so much that they almost spewed out. Berserk. He had just become a low-level fiend demon and was not at the stage where he was able to take mid-level fiend demons head-on. However, if he triggered the berserk power within his bloodline, Monkey's strength would reach an explosive level. Back in Myriad Phenomenon City, Monkey could even take on the primordial 9 races in his berserk state. In his berserk state, Monkey could only see this bull in his bloodshot eyes. The mysterious energy in his bloodline grew and cruised through his body rampantly. Monkey's entire body was shivering slightly. Clang! Wielding imminent, he sent the gigantic hammer above Duan Yong's head flying with a single swing. Immediately after, Monkey dodged Duan Yong's charge with a leap and instead rode on the latter's head. He swung down his fists and smashed down onto Duan Yong's head. Bang! Duan Yong's body trembled violently from that punch. An explosion reverberated through his mind, and his head felt like it was about to split. His vision was blurry as he swayed and nearly fainted. Luckily, Monkey's right arm was slightly numb after he smashed the gigantic hammer with imminent and could not exert his full strength. Otherwise, Duan Yong's head would have been smashed into a pulp if the strike was done with imminent instead. Even so, Monkey's fist was not something that Duan Yong's head could take head-on. Poof! Duan Yong spat out a mouthful of blood and tried his best to shake Monkey off his body. However, Monkey gripped Duan Yong's waist tightly with his legs like iron hoops. He did not budge at all as he rode on Duan Yong while raining punches down with his fist. I'll beat you to death. I'll beat you to death. Monkey ranted with bloodshot eyes. Blood scars surfaced on Duan Yong's head as the punches rained down in succession. He coughed with blood endlessly and his gaze went dim. Interesting. Solitary Cloud curled his lips and nodded. The bloodline of this monkey was definitely extraordinary if it could take an enemy a major cultivation realm above it head-on. However, this monkey would still lose if those were its only capabilities. Go to hell. Duan Yong's glabella shone, and he released a sudden roar. A powerful spirit consciousness fluctuation surged forward and descended upon Monkey instantly. It was an attack of the spirit consciousness. Although Duan Yong did not know any essence spirit secret skill, he was a mid-level fiend demon and could release a spirit consciousness attack. It was an attack targeted at one's essence spirit and was almost instantaneous. Ah! Monkey howled in pain and hugged his head with a single hand. He felt sharp pains piercing through his mind, as though there were endless needles poking him as he swayed and almost fell from midair. Brother Duan, don't worry. I'm here to help you. A mid-level fiend demon from Cyclone Cave rushed over. Its true form was a blood-colored bat, and it was extremely hideous. Its glabella shone and released waves of spirit consciousness attacks. Monkey could not withstand the spirit consciousness attacks from 2 mid-level fiend demons. Ah! He hugged his head with both hands and howled in unendurable pain, hopping wildly in midair. He could not even care when imminent fell from his hands. Solitary Cloud shook his head. What a pity. Indeed, there was an uncrossable gap between low and mid-level fiend demons. Even back when he was a low-level fiend demon, he could not take on mid-level fiend demons that were a major cultivation realm above him. On the other side, Black Wolf and Chanrui were injured from head to toe and were at the end of the road. With the help of more than 10 mid-level fiend demons, Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave had complete control over the situation and nearly nobody was injured. Black Wolf, Chan Rui. It's no use even if you use your essence spirit secret skills. The territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave exchanged glances and smiled smugly, as though they could read the minds of Black Wolf and Chan Rui. After all, we know the same essence spirit secret skills. Not even deities can save Howling Moon Mountain today. The two of you are bound to die. Not necessarily. Right then, a voice sounded within Howling Moon Mountain. It was robust and filled with a steely killing intent, as though there was a powerful army behind it. Chapter 8:26, Thunderous Capabilities. Chapter 8:26, Thunderous Capabilities. The voice reverberated through Howling Moon Mountain. However, the fight between the demons was intense and not many demon beasts took notice of it. Yet, the spirit tiger, Ching Ching and the others were invigorated. Boom! An explosion sounded from the entrance of a cave abode above the mountaintop. The stone door exploded with a frightening force and countless rocks were sent flying. Among the debris, a figure traveled at an extremely fast speed and arrived beside Monkey almost instantly. So fast, Solitary Cloud's heart skipped a beat. His vision turned blurry for an instant and the figure had already vanished. He could not even keep up with the figure with his eyes. Solitary Cloud released his spirit consciousness and squinted his eyes. The intruder wore green robes and had shoulder-length scarlet hair. Although he had refined features, he exuded an unusually demonic aura from head to toe. The intruder scooped up Imminent that was falling with his left hand and swung it against Duanyang's spine in reverse. Bang! Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Duanyang's massive body was cut into two by the tremendous power released by Imminent. His organs spilled out into the air with a nauseating blood stench. At the same time, the intruder extended his right arm with lightning speed and managed to grip the bloodbat of Cyclone Cave that was flickering left and right at a rapid pace. Bloodbats of Cyclone Cave were known for their speed. However, it could not escape from the intruder's palms. Squeak, squeak. The bloodbat was a mid-level fiend demon and screeched hurriedly when its throat was gripped by someone's palm. It struggled violently, but could not break free no matter what it did. The person exerted strength without any hesitation. Crack! The throat of the bloodbat of Cyclone Cave was snapped right away. It was a clean kill. The entire process was fluid as water without any sluggishness. In the blink of an eye, the physical bodies of two mid-level fiend demons were completely destroyed. For low-level fiend demons, the destruction of the physical body was almost equivalent to death. However, for mid-level fiend demons, their essence spirits could roam. There was a chance that they could survive despite the chaotic battlefield with weapons and attacks crossing everywhere. There was a bright flash and two glows floated out from the corpses. One of them was a thumb-sized bull and the other was a blood-colored bat, both of whom fled swiftly into the distance. When the essence spirit was exposed to the outside world without its physical body, the dangers it had to face increased significantly. However, without the shackles of the physical body, the essence spirit resonated closer to heaven and earth and was able to move much faster without resistance. Unfortunately, no matter how fast the two essence spirits were, they were not faster than the speed of sound. The intruder released a roar swiftly after he destroyed the physical bodies of the two mid-level fiend demons. Kill! It was a thunderous boom that shook one's mind. The two essence spirits did not manage to escape far when the voice sounded. Both of them shuddered and paused in midair stiffly. A moment later, the glow around the essence spirits gradually dimmed and cracks appeared one after another throughout their bodies as they fell from midair. The essence spirits of two mid-level fiend demons were completely destroyed. All the demons were in an uproar. At the start, the voice might not have been able to attract everyone's attention. However, this scene was more than enough to shock all the demons present. Even the territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave paused for a moment and turned over with frowns on their faces. Countless spirit demons had died by this point of the battle. More than 10 low-level fiend demons had fallen as well. However, there were no mid-level fiend demons that died. Yet, the moment this person appeared, he took down 2 mid-level fiend demons with thunderous means. How could anyone ignore him? Who was this person? That was the greatest and only question in the mind of the demons present. Territorial Lord. Right then, Black Wolf could not help but holler when he caught sight of the intruder. It's our Territorial Lord, our main Territorial Lord of Howling Moon Mountain. The Rat King was drenched in blood from head to toe. However, he was rejoiced and spirited as well when he saw who had arrived, shouting loudly. The demons of Howling Moon Mountain were invigorated and cheered with gusto. Throughout the battle, the demons had almost forgotten cleanly about this mysterious territorial lord that had never shown himself. Nobody expected him to finally make an appearance at this critical moment. I heard that the new territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain is a low-level fiend demon. Originally, I could not believe it. Seems like the rumors are true after all. Foo-foo. Howling Moon Mountain is sure getting more worthless by the day. A stifled laugh echoed from Midair. Solitary Cloud looked down with a faint hint of mockery in his eyes and his hands behind his back. Low-level fiend demon? The demons of Howling Moon Mountain froze for a moment and turned towards the intruder with lost looks in their eyes. It does seem like he's truly a low-level fiend demon. How could that be? Ugh. In the blink of an eye, the smiles on the faces of the Howling Moon Mountain demons vanished. All of them shook their heads and sighed in disappointment. The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. Initially, the demons thought that their new territorial lord could lead them to force back the strong foes. But now, what could a low-level fiend demon do? Given the circumstances, even mid-level fiend demons with ordinary strength could barely handle the chaos. The intruder was none other than Zimo, who was in seclusion. His kill of the 2 mid-level fiend demons happened in a fleeting moment. Apart from a few people who were watching idly by the sidelines, almost nobody else noticed it. That was the reason why the demons of Howling Moon Mountain were not overwhelmed despite witnessing the death of 2 mid-level fiend demons. Many demons even thought that their new territorial lord committed a dishonorable ambush attack. Zimo supported Monkey and returned imminent to the latter, asking, "Can you still fight?" Of course. Although Monkey's eyes were considerably less bloodshot and his berserk power had faded as well, the fighting spirit in his eyes did not diminish in the slightest bit. Zimo said, "Go and help the spirit tiger and the others. Leave things here to me." All right. Monkey agreed to it readily. The territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave did not say anything at all. They merely squinted and spread their mighty spirit consciousnesses to scan Zimo's body continuously. Both of them wanted to read Zimo. However, to their surprise, they could not even make out his true form. If not for the demonic aura that Zimo exuded, they would have even thought that they were facing a human cultivator. Solitary Cloud frowned as well. The scarlet-haired man before him was only a low-level fiend demon, but he could not read this man at all. The most puzzling thing was that he felt shudders when he looked at this scarlet-haired man. It was an unprecedented situation. As a Wyrm, he was a top-tier expert even among pure-blooded ferocious beasts. Furthermore, he was a full major cultivation realm above this person. How could he be feeling shudders? It must be his imagination. Wait, something isn't right. Solitary Cloud closed his eyes slightly and took a deep breath. It was the aura of the dragon race. His expression changed. This man exuded a faint aura of the dragon race. I've got it. Suddenly, Solitary Cloud realized what was happening. This man must be in possession of the treasure of the dragon race. Everything would make sense if that was the case. The reason why this person was able to become the territorial lord of Howling Moon Mountain despite the fact that he was a low-level fiend demon was because he had the treasure of the dragon race. Although Solitary Cloud was expressionless, he was secretly delighted when he finally understood what was happening. A treasure that can help a low-level fiend demon become a territorial lord is definitely extraordinary. The heavens are truly on my side. I'm excited just thinking about it. Solitary Cloud thought to himself as his lips curled. Chapter 827, Slaughter. Chapter 827, Slaughter. Solitary Cloud pointed to Suzimo and looked at everyone from Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave proudly, saying in a slow manner, "You guys can carry on. Leave this man to me." His intentions were simple. Even if the treasure of the dragon race was exposed, if he was the one that killed this man personally, it would definitely belong to him and nobody would be able to take it away from him. The territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave exchanged glances and nodded. Originally, the two of them thought that the intruder was an impressive expert. By the look of things now, he was nothing more than a low-level fiend demon. Although he was capable, it meant nothing that he was not going to change the eventual outcome. Furthermore, this man was doomed now that Solitary Cloud decided to step in and deal with things personally. Kill. The two territorial lords raised their hands and led the remaining 10 mid-level fiend demons to launch another flurry of attacks towards Black Wolf and Chanrui. Instantly, Dharmic power surged everywhere. Black Wolf and Chanrui had just caught a breather. To think that they would be encircled with impending danger in the blink of an eye. Suzimo's gaze turned cold. He moved swiftly and charged in the direction of the territorial lords of Cyclone Cave and Black Sand Ridge. Fufu, I'm your opponent. Solitary Cloud had no intention of reverting to his true form. He advanced with his water spout and blocked Suzimo's path, smiling idly. It's your honor to be able to die in my hands. Scram. Suzimo's eyes lit up and he thrust his knees forward, extending his arms to grab Solitary Cloud's shoulders at the same time. That was a killing move from the mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the Great Wilderness. Suzimo had used these techniques in the past. Although they were strong, they were merely in form. After he became a fiend demon, this technique was no longer merely in form, there was even a divine might in it. This was the true definition of a mental and physical harmonization. This was a level that could only be achieved after an essence spirit was formed. Solitary Cloud's expression changed. In his eyes, it was as though Suzimo's figure had vanished. Instead, there was a divine steed that was charging over with a torrential might. A tragic aura surged towards him and rattled his mind. Ah, he's a horse demon. A thought crossed Solitary Cloud's mind. Instantly, he felt prideful. His true form was a Wyrm, a pure-blooded ferocious beast. In terms of bloodline, he could be considered as a distant relative of the dragon race. How could he be shocked by a horse demon? Get the hell back! Solitary Cloud hollered and extended his arms at the same time, entangling them with Suzimo's hands. He kicked out with one foot and stomped onto Suzimo's knees violently. Bang! Solitary Cloud's feet collided fiercely against Suzimo's knee. Solitary Cloud shuddered. A terrifying power surged into his body through his feet in an almost unstoppable manner. That single head-on collision caused his feet to go numb. Shing! Right then, Solitary Cloud suddenly felt his arms turn cold. Immediately after, there was a sharp pain. He lowered his head. Nails that were sharp as daggers protruded from Suzimo's fingers. Although they did not pierce his flesh, they ripped his clothes apart and left bloodied scars across his arms. Ah! Solitary Cloud was enraged and could not help but roar. As a pure-blooded ferocious beast, his body was extremely tough and even ordinary perfected Lord Dharmic weapons could barely hurt him. To think that his body would be injured by the nails of this low-level fiend demon before him. How dare you injure? Solitary Cloud's eyes widened. Before he could finish his sentence, his vision blurred and Suzimo charged forward once more. Boom! Suzimo's fist curved in an arc in midair like a gigantic seal and smashed down onto his face with a terrifying might. Solitary Cloud's eyes were filled with rage and surprise. In his eyes, Suzimo was like a divine ape that was enraged at the moment. He thumped his chest wildly with a shocking wrath. Could this person's true form be an ape? If that's the case, What was with the divine steed earlier on? Solitary Cloud had no time to ponder deeply as he crossed and propped his arms forward hurriedly. Bang! There was a dull sound of defeat when flesh and bones collided. Solitary Cloud's body shuddered, and he lost his balance. He was sent flying by Su Zimo. He had lost in 2 consecutive head-on clashes. Furthermore, after both rounds, Solitary Cloud found himself even more bewildered and surprised. He could no longer figure out what Su Zimo's true form was. In less than 3 breaths, Su Zimo sent Solitary Cloud flying. Ha ha! Su Zimo burst into laughter and glanced askance at Solitary Cloud, who was not far away, declaring loudly, "You are indeed rather capable to even survive despite taking 2 attacks from me." His statement was a reply to Solitary Cloud's initial taunt. However, he had said it in an even more brazen manner. Solitary Cloud was so furious that his lungs almost exploded. As a Wyrm, he had been in countless battles up till this point of his cultivation. Although he had been on the brink of death multiple times, he had never endured such humiliation. His body shivered in rage as the blood chi in his body surged and his bones started transforming. He was prepared to revert to his true form and kill Su Zimo. "I don't care if you're a horse or ape demon. I'll make sure you endure my wrath for humiliating me. I've decided I'm not going to kill you today. Instead, I'm going to subdue you and turn you into my mount." Solitary Cloud ranted as he transformed. Immediately after, he caught sight of another scene and shrieked, so shocked that his eyeballs nearly popped out. "Holy shit! What the hell is that?" After he was knocked back by Su Zimo, the latter did not bother about him and instead sprinted across the battlefield to rescue Black Wolf and Chan Rui. Su Zimo's figure slithered in midair like an anaconda and arrived behind a mid-level fiend demon of Cyclone Cave with a single slide. Solitary Cloud was utterly confused. Initially, he thought that Su Zimo was a horse or ape demon, or even some mighty steed ape of the legends. However, this man transformed into an anaconda right before him. Although he was in human form, his actions and mannerisms resembled the anaconda race completely. The mid-level fiend demon of Cyclone Cave had not imagined that Su Zimo would be able to break free from the territorial lord of Ghastly River and rush over. Before he could react, Su Zimo was behind him. Hiss! He heard a strange sound. Even without turning back, the image of an anaconda spitting its forked tongue appeared in his mind. Chills ran down his spine and his scalp prickled. Before he could react, he found his arms and legs bound tightly such that he was unable to escape. The feeling of asphyxiation surged into his mind, and he could no longer use any Dharmic powers or weapons. The next moment, Su Zimo reared his head and took in a deep breath, as though he had transformed into a gigantic anaconda that was about to devour the sun and moon. The flesh on his body expanded instantly. The terrifying restriction power had descended upon this person. Crack, 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 right in front of everyone. The body of the fiend demon from Cyclone Cave caved in and the sound of bones snapping echoed continuously. Given that distance, not many people would be able to defend against Su Zimo's killing move, even if they were mid-level fiend demons. An essence spirit broke out from the body. Before it could escape, Su Zimo gripped and squashed it, destroying it on the spot. A mid-level fiend demon was minced to death just like that. Chapter 828, Wyrm Bone Scissors. Chapter 828, Wyrm Bone Scissors. Pissed. What a violent melee combat technique. The mid-level fiend demons that originally surrounded Black Wolf and Chan Rui were shocked and retreated by instinct, causing the attacks to pause. Together with the 2 territorial lords, there were a total of 14 mid-level fiend demons. However, in the blink of an eye, 3 were dead. Don't panic. It's just a low-level fiend demon. Everyone, let's work together to kill him. The territorial lord of Cyclone Cave had a composed expression as he shouted. The territorial lord of Black Sand Ridge gave a deep growl as well. "The 9 of you, surround and kill that guy." Leave Black Wolf and Chanrui to us. The demons gradually returned to their senses. How strong could a low-level fiend demon be? No matter how violent this person was in melee combat, he only had a pair of fists and legs. How could he win against 9 fiend demons? No matter how strong this person's physique was, could he defend against their Dharmic weapons? Kill! In midair, the demons shouted and struck at the same time. More than 10 demonic Dharmic weapons tore through the air and rained down in the direction of Suzumo's body. The demons of Howling Moon Mountain turned nervous instantly. 9 fiend demons were joining forces to kill a low-level fiend demon. This was an unprecedented sight. Even a mid-level fiend demon was most probably unable to defend against this. Furthermore, the territorial lord of Ghastly River, Solitary Cloud, had already reverted to his true form at the side. The corners of his head protruded gloriously as he surged forward on his waterspout with a torrential might along with rain and clouds. Solitary Cloud's combat strength increased significantly now that he was in his true form. A Wyrm resembled a dragon without horns and a snake with 2 legs. Solitary Cloud's body was grayish-white, and he was a few hundred feet long when completely spread out. Thin, small scales lined his body, and he had 2 feet under his abdomen with sharp claws and fangs. At his glabella between his eyes, there was a small bump that resembled a meat lump. It was almost impossible to see unless one focused their gaze. In truth, this meat lump was the horn of Wyrms. Wyrms had no horns when they were born. Their horns only appeared if they cultivated continuously to comprehend heaven and earth while devouring opportunities and stealing fortunes. The deeper their cultivations were, the more obvious their horns would become. Of course, most Wyrms could barely cultivate a tender horn even if they cultivated for tens of thousands of years. Legend has it that when the horn is completely formed, it would mean that the Wyrm was about to become a true dragon. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 demonic Dharmic weapons closed in. Suzumo's expression did not change as he slapped his storage bag, withdrawing a black mountain peak that expanded with the wind. Boom! The black mountain peak descended and hovered in midair. At least half of the demonic Dharmic weapons that were initially flying towards Suzumo changed their trajectories towards the black mountain peak, as though they were mysteriously drawn away. Cling! Clang! The demon Dharmic weapons clashed against the black mountain and sparks flew with clanging sounds. Even more beguiling than that, the demonic Dharmic weapons were stuck on the black mountain motionlessly. The few fiend demons were startled. They lost their connection with their own destiny Dharmic weapons. Although they could see their own destiny Dharmic weapons right before their eyes, they could no longer control them. Although a few of the Dharmic weapons were unaffected, they no longer bore any threat to Suzumo. Suzumo's figure flashed a few times in succession, and he avoided the Dharmic weapons with ease. Bang! Boom! Boom! Solitary Cloud charged over with raging tides and a ferocious aura, as though he was about to devour the entire Howling Moon Mountain. He narrowed his gaze and exclaimed softly. It was clear that the Black Mountain was far from ordinary. However, he could clearly sense that there was no aura of the dragon race coming from the Black Mountain. It was not the same treasure from the dragon race that he had conjectured. This mountain seems to be... Solitary Cloud's eyes lit up and a possibility crossed his mind. Other fiend demons might not have been able to recognize it, but he was someone from the Wyrm race. He had inherited vast memories from the ancient times, and his knowledge naturally surpassed others. If I'm not wrong, that should be Mystic Magnet Mountain, one of the 7 unique treasures. To think that this man would be in possession of a unique treasure. Solitary Cloud's heart skipped a beat. This man's fortune was sure terrifying to possess a unique treasure as well as a treasure of the dragon race that has yet to make its appearance. It was no wonder why this man was able to replace Black Wolf as a territorial lord. However, although a unique treasure was strong, it did not mean that it had no weaknesses. Everything in the world had its counters. The power of magnetism possessed a natural suction towards any metallic object in the world. However, it had no effect on many universal and rare spirit items. For example, aged metal ores, heaven silver, and green bronze, etc. were materials that were unaffected by the Mystic Magnet Mountain. The Mystic Magnet Mountain was even more useless against some of the weapons that were made from the flesh, hide, or bones of demon beasts. Puny tricks. Watch my Dharmic weapon. Solitary Cloud sneered and opened his gigantic mouth, spitting out a ray of white light. The ray of white light expanded rapidly in midair like a pair of gigantic scissors. It hovered in midair and was protected by a mist, shrouded by endless demonic chi. This was Solitary Cloud's Destiny Dharmic weapon, the Wyrm Bone Scissors. It was made from the spines of a male and female Wyrms. The heads of the Wyrms were made into its handle, and the tails of the Wyrms were made into its scissors blades. It was lined densely with thin spikes and was incomparably sharp. No matter the demon beast or weapon, they would be cut into two by the Wyrm Bone Scissors. Most importantly, the Mystic Magnet Mountain had no effect on the Wyrm Bone Scissors since it was made from the bones of Wyrms. Roar! The Wyrm Bone Scissors paused momentarily in midair as demonic chi surged. Two ferocious Wyrms were created, and they reared their heads and roared into the skies with a murderous intent before coiling towards Suzimo. Although the Wyrm Bone Scissors could not be considered as a Khanate Dao being Dharmic weapon, it was not far from one. Before the two Wyrms descended, Suzimo already felt a sharp pain around his waist, as though he was about to be cut into two. Humph! Suzimo sneered and his glabella shone, sending forth a ray of green light. The ray of green light expanded swiftly in midair, creating a bronze square tripod that was more than a meter tall, ancient, and heavy. Although it was lined with cracks, its edges were defined as though it could break the firmaments and quake the earth. Even the universe could not contain it. Go! Suzimo hollered softly and controlled the bronze square tripod with his consciousness, sending it to smash against the Wyrm Bone Scissors violently. Cut it! Solitary Cloud hollered as well. Boom! The Wyrm Bone Scissors and bronze square tripod collided violently with a tremendous bang. Groar! Immediately after, the tragic cries of two Wyrms echoed in midair as they reverted into two rays of white light that vanished as they retreated into the Wyrm Bone Scissors. The glow of the Wyrm Bone Scissors dimmed significantly and it fell. Solitary Cloud's heart was broken as he glared at it with unimaginable pain. His Wyrm Bone Scissors was injured with a single clash, and it would take him dozens of years of refinement to return it to normal. The bronze square tripod was intact and returned to Suzimo's side once more. Although the bronze square tripod looked battered and was lined with cracks, it was indestructible. The outcome of that head-on collision was not because Suzimo was strong. The Wyrm Bone Scissors was the one that injured itself by trying to destroy the bronze square tripod. How dare you damage my precious scissors, fiend demon? Damn it! Solitary Cloud was enraged and howled deeply. The river behind him surged and created torrential waves that gushed towards Suzimo with an apocalyptic might like a massive army. At the same time, the fiend demons that lost their demonic Dharmic weapons struck at the same time, releasing demonic arts one after another. Instantly, the voids were filled with dense demonic chi and Dharmic powers rumbled. Chapter 829, Dharmic Duel. Chapter 829, Dharmic Duel. At this point of the battle, neither parties were bothered with testing the waters. Apart from Suzimo, all the other demons reverted to their true forms and released demonic arts. Instantly, the earth and mountains quaked while rivers gushed. This was a collision between Dharmic arts, and there were no cheap tricks involved. All the mid-level fiend demons of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave could already tell that Suzimo's physique was strong and he was terrifying in melee combat. They might not be able to secure victory. Furthermore, he had quite a number of treasures that were extraordinarily strong. They would be disadvantaged if they tried to take him on in melee combat, or with Dharmic weapons. Their cultivation realms were above Suzimo, and their essence spirits were powerful. As such, they could utilize even more Dharmic powers. That was their advantage. Moreover, coupled with Solitary Cloud, the territorial lord of Ghastly River, there were a total of 10 mid-level fiend demons attacking at the same time. The combined strength of countless Dharmic powers has a torrential force, and even the voids above Howling Moon Mountain vibrated. Solitary Cloud's demonic art was the most frightening of them all. Wyrms mostly resided in rivers or lakes and could make use of the power of water while manipulating rain and clouds. They could even trigger floods and bring calamity upon living beings by drowning the earth if they were furious. Right now, the demonic art that he had invoked was a legacy Dharmic art of the Wyrm race, Apocalyptic Torrent. Even the territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave were startled when the Dharmic art was released, let alone the other weaker demons. Even if the two of them combined strength, they would have to avoid this attack. The combat power of this Wyrm was greater than they had imagined. Thankfully, they were not the target of the Dharmic art. The territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave sneered as they glanced at Suzimo and shook their heads. They focused their attention on Black Wolf and Chanrui once again. In their minds, Suzimo was nothing but a dead man. Nobody could survive such an attack. Even if they were in Suzimo's position, their physical bodies and essence spirits would be destroyed together. At that moment, the demons that were fighting below paused briefly. All of them turned over instinctively. Against many fiend demons that were so gigantic they were about to pierce the heavens with their frames, Suzimo seemed as insignificant as an ant. It seemed as though he would be drowned by the overwhelming torrent of Dharmic power instantly. However, if they focused their gazes, they would be able to notice that Suzimo's gaze was calm and emotionless. Instead, there was even a hint of mockery. All of a sudden, a massive object appeared beneath Suzimo's feet. The massive object had 4 feet, 2 heads, and carried a gigantic shell that was filled with mysterious runes. It was ancient and seemed as though it could understand all the secrets of the universe. The shell carried the firmaments as its feet stood right into the torrent unyieldingly like heavenly piercing stone pillars. Groar! The snake and turtle reared their heads and howled into the world. Heaven and earth rumbled. The 9 Dharmic arts from the fiend demons of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave had just descended when they paused in midair before dissipating. 9 Dharmic arts were dispelled instantly. Ah! What is that? All the demons were in an uproar. Even Solitary Cloud's pupils constricted. The aura emanated by the demon beast with 4 feet and 2 heads gave him uncontrollable shudders. What was that demon beast that possessed such a noble bloodline? 4 limbs, 2 heads. 4 limbs, 2 heads. Solitary Cloud murmured softly, and his eyes lit up as a possibility crossed his mind. Could it be the sacred beast? The black tortoise. That was no demon beast, it was a sacred beast. Although Suzimo's golden core had already vanished, he was now at the nascent soul realm, and it was extremely simple for him to release the black tortoise phenomenon using Dharmic powers. No matter how the torrent surged, it could not shake the figure of the black tortoise. The black tortoise phenomenon was the number 1 of the phenomenon ranking. Even a phantom that was conjured using Dharmic powers was not something that ordinary Dharmic arts could contend with. Although the fiend demons that surrounded Suzimo were massive with torrential demonic chi, they were inferior compared to the sacred beast, the black tortoise. Suzimo rode on the black tortoise with a burning gaze and an even more fearsome aura that seemed as though he could devour mountains and rivers. How dare a puny Wyrm snake try to cause a wave? How laughable! Against the suppression of the black tortoise, the torrent from the voids had indeed stabilized. Solitary Cloud gripped his fists tightly and was shivering in rage. As someone from the Wyrm race, the one thing he hated the most was being compared to a mere snake. It's merely a phantom created from Dharmic powers. It looks strong on the surface but lacks substance and isn't even a real sacred beast. What are you getting cocky about? Solitary Cloud grit his teeth. This Dharmic art is definitely taking a huge toll on your essence spirit. I'll see how many of my attacks you can withstand. Solitary Cloud was indeed a sharp person who was keen to pick up on things. He was not wrong. To summon this black tortoise phenomenon, Suzimo took a huge toll on his scarlet-haired Een spirit. After all, his cultivation realm could not be changed. It was already his scarlet-haired Een spirit's limits to defend against the attacks of 10 mid-level fiend demons. However, Suzimo was composed as ever as he smirked coldly without a hint of panic. In that intense battle, nobody noticed that the scarlet hair on Suzimo's head was gradually turning black. The scarlet-haired Een spirit had retreated within his spirit consciousness. In its place was the black-haired essence spirit that sat in the center. It's not about how many attacks I can withstand. It's about how many attacks you can withstand. Suzimo circled around the demons, and electric currents flashed through his eyes as he reared his head and roared. He formed hand seals swiftly with both hands, and the sound of thunder rumbling could be heard within his body. In fact, lightning bolts arced sinisterly across the surface of his body. The clouds above Howling Moon Mountain turned darker and rumbled fiercely. However, nobody noticed this as there was already a heavy downpour. Purple thunderstorm. Suddenly, Suzimo shouted and pointed forward. Boom! Streaks of purple thunderbolt rained down from the dark clouds, connecting the firmaments to the earth. They weaved endlessly to form a terrifying purple thunderstorm. 6 of the mid-level fiend demons that could not dodge in time were pulled into the storm. The 6 of them were startled and gathered their Dharmic powers to defend. However, it was absolutely impossible for them to escape unscathed against the envelopment of heaven and earth's might. In the blink of an eye, the Dharmic power defense of 2 fiend demons were penetrated. Within 3 breaths, the flesh of the 2 fiend demons were split open by the thunderbolts. Purple thunderbolts coiled and the wounds billowed with dark smoke. Both fiend demons writhed in pain in midair and shrieked tragically. The remaining 4 fiend demons tried their best and eventually managed to escape from the area of effect of the purple thunderstorm. However, all of them were injured from head to toe and were in a pathetic state. The 4 fiend demons turned back and glanced with a sense of trepidation. During that short period of time, the 2 fiend demons were already drowned within the purple thunderstorm and had perished in silence. Against the envelopment of the purple thunderstorm, their essence spirits would be electrocuted instantly even if they managed to escape from the physical body. 2 mid-level fiend demons died instantly from a single Dharmic art. All the demons were shocked. The territorial lords of Black Sand Ridge and Cyclone Cave looked at everything with agape mouths and eyes widened in disbelief. This was a Dharmic art from the Purple Thunder Manual that possessed a devastating power. In truth, no matter how strong the Purple Thunderstorm was, it might not have been able to kill a mid-level fiend demon that was a major cultivation realm above Suzimo. Those 2 mid-level fiend demons were unlucky. With the thunderclouds and heavy downpour in the area to begin with, the power of the purple thunderstorm that was released was pushed to its maximum extent. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.